good to go.
You have to hit a switch or anything?
You don't have to push your green.
Button to talk.
You have to, on the microphones, you have to hold them to talk. When you let it go, it mutes you down.
Well,
No, if you push to talk, and then
just push
push
it
it
once,
again.
just push it once, it'll turn green, and that'll be the microphone's on.
Do we shut it off when we're not talking?
You can't,
Yeah.
but we're live now, so.
Good evening, welcome to the June 11th, 2024 Park and Recreation Commission meeting. Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are starting the meeting today. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Any public comments?
Yeah, I can start, I guess. A lot of pressure.
State your name, make sure you can speak
Okay.
into the microphone.
Hello. Is it on? My name's Luke. I wanted to introduce myself. I grew up skateboarding down at the Ware Skate Park over there, and it was recently that I saw that, I don't know, is your name Ben?
No.
One of the Eagle Scouts and some local businesses built a mini ramp there, and so it wasn't until then I was going to classes at New England College, so I was driving by every day, and I saw that, and I was very excited that you guys were breathing life back into the skate park. And due to recent industry, I'm not skateboarding, but I still want to contribute. So I came in to propose some options to fix up the skate park. Currently, right now, there's a rickety old ramp, like the red one. I don't know if you guys have definitely seen it, and it's unskatable. The bottom is pretty. I took some pictures I can show you, and I just want to make sure that that's safe, and be as much involved as I can in cleaning up the skate park, maintaining it, helping kids learn, because it's at a middle school, so our target demographic is making sure that these kids can learn how to skateboard and learn safely. So what I did was I just prepared a little bit. Feel free, I'll give it to you guys. These were just a couple ideas. So I have one of those and then some spreadsheets for a couple different, options of things. The biggest option would be option A, and that is essentially just fixing up the quarter pipe that's broken. And then, I went through and took the liberty of just adding in some other things just to show you what could be possible. You'll see some pictures. I should have printed off a couple more copies of the blueprints, but you'll see those. So the big ramp just needs some new wood underneath, definitely some new studs, probably some new screws. And then some of the ramps need new base metal. There's like a little bit of a lip. And Dave and I kind of did a walkthrough in the skate park the other day. And that's really all I have.
And this is the same gentleman that we kind of did that pre-approval last month for the 500 for. So this is the same. He's actually come with more details on what we're doing. We do have the replacement metal
I was gonna say that.
at Ineson. We just have to bring it back based off of what you want to do.
Awesome.
Guys, I'm sorry, can you make sure your
Oh.
mics are on?
Sorry, this is the same gentleman that we did the approval for last month. So I'm just gonna repeat myself. I have a moving voice
Thank you,
on. No. So it all depends on what we want to do as far as other things.
So just to echo what Dave said, we, probably a year or so ago, did really look at that ramp. We were able to salvage the metal piece. But we realized we couldn't screw anything in because everything underneath was rotten.
Rotted, yep.
Yeah, so we stopped short of tearing it down, but knew if it didn't get repaired soon, for safety reasons, it would have to come down.
Right. And so that's kind of what I was thinking too, is we looked at it as well, and I didn't want to tear it up and leave it open and for some kid to fall in there. But if we tear it up and, it's rotten and the whole thing's trash, that's where maybe something like option B could come in. For $500, we could build that blueprint that I was recommending, and like a 2-foot high quarter pipe for the kids to just learn, and very progression, very easy, something like that.
Dave, do you know, I was over there today actually, there's a feature that is in the middle. I don't know what they're called.
That's my doing, the spine ramp.
Yeah.
So-
It looked like it came off the end, but was warped.
Yes, so
Things holding it
we
there.
built it and we donated that
Okay.
and a curb to the skate park
Okay.
for a recent project. And what happened was I didn't buy that metal that we were talking about. You need to put that metal on the
Okay.
bottom, otherwise it just warps.
Yeah,
The wood
that's
will
what it
warp
looked
up.
like, okay.
Yeah, so that's also been in my plan, is to fix that on my own because it's something that I donated.
And there's a broken metal piece. I moved it off to the side. It was a blue, piece of metal about this long.
A pole jam, yeah, it's a skate feature.
It is?
Yes, yeah.
There is a new, he added a couple of new things, and that is actually, it's
It's
actually,
not attached to the ground at all.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could screw it in for
Oh.
sure, but it's basically just like a movable little,
Okay.
like a pole
I
jam.
thought somebody broke something. Off to the side. I'm like, this is dangerous.
And that was another question I have too. If we're putting something in, I'm sure you want it concrete screwed into the ground.
Well, I mean, I think that I don't speak for everybody, but I know when we talked about it in the past, it was what makes sense for those people who are using
Right.
the skate park. I think the bigger thing is we've been trying to keep a photo inventory
Mm-hmm.
of everything we have, so when something does deteriorate, we know what we had. And
Right.
so I think maybe when we get to the point of fixing everything, we could do another
100%. Yeah.
photo of, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But whether it's attached to the ground or not, I don't have enough experience to know from a safety
Mm-hmm.
perspective whether it should be, or is anybody else?
does anybody have option C? I don't see the picture for option C.
Yep. I think it's over there. Yeah.
They might have it. We have option A's.
And I have option B.
Yeah. So I should have printed more. My computer ran out of ink.
We can go make Xerox.
Yeah. But my main concern is just making sure that quarter pipe is safe and rideable for everyone.
I mean, I like it, especially someone who's been doing it for a long time. I can appreciate it. I definitely dabbled on a board for a while when I was.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, seeing someone who's interested in it, any, volunteer time we can get and expertise, I think is definitely
Yeah. Yeah.
appreciated.
Yeah, and I'm actually a certified coach as well for skateboarding and snowboarding, so I'd be more than happy to donate time too. If there's a program or if kids want to learn, I'm more than happy.
Okay.
Did somebody add a feature? Again, when I was there,
Oh, okay.
something that runs along
Okay,
that.
I guess everything's been my doing, yeah. So that last thing isn't a feature. I just need to get my truck to bring it home. That was, I don't know if you saw, there's like a curb, like a green curb.
yeah.
That was the form that we poured.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to bring that out
Okay.
as soon as possible.
I was up there today and like wondering what some of those things were.
No worries. It's been great. Like we've had a couple kids come by, and I've been seeing more and more kids. I've been driving by all the time and stopping in whenever I have a second to pull weeds and clean it up. And the people have been loving it. So I'm excited to see something that I grew up riding have life breathed into it.
And we do have metal, correct? Because we have basically two of the deteriorating red ramp. We have a whole nother set of those metal, and then we also have, the whole other set for the red, and then you have the set for the center still, right? Because I think we took that apart. There's a bunch of metal, so
Yeah.
more or less we could take you to where it's located and you can.
And that would be great.
And figure out what you can use, and so obviously, because the metal's the most
Yeah.
expensive part of the whole project.
100%.
And to be able to to reuse it,
Yeah.
I mean, some of it is obviously warped,
Mm-hmm.
because it was sitting screwed down in a bed
Mm-hmm.
section, so I haven't seen it in the storage shed to know
Mm-hmm.
what's there, but I know the metal for the bottom piece, to fix it as it sits, is sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Awesome.
So, I think for the person doing our notes, we're supposed to be saying our names, yes? So I'm gonna say mine.
Yep.
Shelby O'Donnell. I think that doing an actual program is a great idea. There would have to be insurance, right, for there to be an official program? So what I'm going to suggest is that if you are interested in running a program and you maybe have one other adult who could also help with that,
Yeah,
to really make an impact, that you maybe go to the Ware Athletic Club and propose to them.
yeah,
Because then that would be a way of like actually getting something official off the ground
Yeah.
and putting it out to more kids in town. Then the insurance could be provided in
100%.
that manner. And then also that protects you because Ware Athletic Club would, of course, do a background check and all of those things.
yeah,
So that would be my suggestion.
perfect, okay, yeah.
That's actually,
Did it come through?
Hi, Beck Professor, President of the Ware Athletic Club. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I figured when you did the point, I was like, I think he's probably in the room, yeah. Great, so maybe that's something we could talk about for the future, yeah, awesome.
Luke, what was, Shelby mentioned.
Yeah.
Maybe mentioning your last name for the.
Oh,
minute
Luke
taker.
Booton,
Maybe for her spell it, because she
oh,
listens.
Boutin.
Thank you. Yeah, because she listens and
Mm-hmm.
then does the minutes.
Awesome, well, I appreciate your time, and I hope that was enough information, and,
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So what are the next steps, though? I'm not sure what the next steps
Well,
are.
we approved the $500 for last meeting.
Yep.
Now that we have the plan, we can move forward with that.
Yep.
So,
And once we pull, basically, we'll figure out between you and I what time works to be able to pull it apart so you can actually look at it.
Yep.
And go,
we'll go from there.
and then we can kind of go from there.
Awesome.
So for the materials though, how are we going to make that purchase? Are we going to just have it,
We're gonna go through Country 30
okay, and just charge it to the account?
and charge it to the account.
Okay.
So that's sort of option B then, is what's on the sheet, that's up to,
Well, if the ramp is salvageable, it would be option A then.
okay, but we approved up to 500,
Yeah.
yeah, so
So we-
that would get us A or B.
Yeah. So you get A or B.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate, yeah.
Thank you.
Great job.
So my question is, not knowing how this works, if I was on the agenda, is this part of that time that we speak?
Are you,
Joanne
are you
Gagnon?
Monica?
Well, I'm here on behalf of
Okay.
Monica, who couldn't make it.
Do we want to move her up now? Because she's at the end of the,
I had just responded to Monica, assuming that they would come and speak under public comment.
Yeah.
So is this
When
the
I
time?
put, yeah, when
Yes.
I had put that on the agenda, it was just really to read the email and
okay,
didn't
Just
know
a
that somebody
placeholder.
was gonna be here.
okay.
So I would say we do it under public comment,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, go ahead, just state. your
Okay,
name, like,
great. So I'm Joanne Gagnon, and I am the board member and the membership director for Lake Horace Landowners Association. And I came to meet with you last year, actually, with an idea that I had to try to incorporate a relationship with not just lake owner people, but all of Ware, and to try to have an inclusive event. And the best place to do that, in my opinion, would be at Chase Park. And that idea entailed doing a movie night. The Lake Association is trying more and more to try to do events that we feature on our page, that anyone coming on the lake, whether it's at the beach, in their boat, or a homeowner, can participate. And we have, we're trying to get to 4 events and spread them out through the summer so that there's, some fun options for people when they can make it. So the movie night, what we're trying to do is basically an outdoor sit-down drive-in style movie with a big screen. We'd have to license a movie, choose a family-friendly movie, because we can't control who might buy and see the movie, so we don't want anything R-rated of any kind. We have to have, obviously, equipment, et cetera. And I've been working, I couldn't do it last year. Our idea was too late in the season, and when we started to realize that we needed insurance and licensing and a movie and all this stuff, it just couldn't happen fast enough. So we deferred it to this year, hoping that we could get that off the ground, to have 2 other people helping me just Porter from the Ware Center School, and another woman that lives on the lake. And we're hoping to do this, or we're proposing that this be the first Friday in August, which I believe is the 1st. The time is kind of to be determined because it's unclear to me when that sunsetting time will come, but it would be pre-dusk. Our hope, I'll say hope because I still have a lot of people to talk to, but our hope would be that we would have some fun events for kids, like a family-friendly event, including, like, I have a friend who has an ice cream truck. She's gonna bring her ice cream truck. Maybe find someone local that might be willing to bring like a burger and dog or pizza kind of truck. Maybe glow sticks that we can hand out to the children because it'll be a night event. We as a group, a committee, were talking about bagging popcorn or pre-packaging it somehow so that people would know that it was safe. But maybe going to like Sam's Club and having a table of, movie kind of candy, things like that. So there's a lot of ideas swirling around and a lot of work to be done. I do have someone I believe that I'm going to be able to secure all the equipment from that will satisfy the space so that enough people can see it. It would have to be bring your own chairs kind of thing, and it would be a night event, so it would mean that there's no one at the gate, but I'd be happy to solicit all the people that I'm friends with to help manage all of that, be it at the gate. We're all going to have responsibilities because it'll be a lot to sort of, orchestrate. But I think I have enough people that would help me from the social committee that I work with. So I'm not too worried about that, but that's kind of the overview of what we're hoping to do. There's a few things that we haven't quite figured out, like it's a limited space. What happens when we fail? I think it's going to have to be a first come, first serve. The other idea that's been thrown around is we charge for it, but we don't charge for it in a ridiculous way, but like a very inexpensive way. And 50% of the money goes back to the nonprofit and 50% goes to Parks and Recs to help with the Chase Park budget. So that was another, concept that we were working with, hoping that it would be like not more than say $5, maybe less, There's things I still need to know. I'm not sure where to get this information, like how many people can actually fit in that space, how many cars can park there. I know there's no on-street parking, so I know there are some things that are challenging. I'm kind of friendly with some of the neighbors around there, so I was wondering if maybe there might be some places where people could park and walk over. I don't know, the sand pit maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some ways to keep it as inclusive as possible and serve as many people as possible. And so I wanted to present that this year because I really think that I can pull this off this year. I'm feeling pretty confident about it. Will it be the event I hope it to be? I don't know. But I think year on year you can build on stuff. So maybe it'll be small this year and it'll grow next year. Who knows?
I mean, we'll be able to get you parking and all of that. One of the things we did this past winter when we did our senior event and we had limited seating, we couldn't have more people show up than we could accommodate. We created tickets. They were free. We put them at the library and other local
Oh, that's a great
businesses.
idea.
And it was first come, first serve, but when the tickets were gone because we knew we'd be at capacity. You might want to think about whether it's free or you ask for a donation, but maybe if we could give you the capacity numbers, you could do some mock tickets that could be put around town. Daycares, things like that.
Yeah.
People could then write their names. We had a tear-off one. So we had
Oh,
their
that makes
names.
sense, and then
Yeah.
you can have a tally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm more worried, it's not so much the seating because I scoped out where I think it would work, which is kind of toward where the bathrooms are on that grassy knoll, because that seems to be a high point, and then everyone would sort of, kind of do this out. So I think that that'd be enough visibility if the theater is high enough, right? But it's more the parking I'm concerned about. I would encourage all boat people, all lake people to try to boat over, right? And carpool in your boat, whatever that term is. But
Carpool in your car.
carpool in your car, exactly, because you're going to get out of your car and you're going to take your lawn chair to go sit outside. The car is irrelevant. And people that live close maybe would walk, but my biggest worry is how many cars can fit in there. It's not so many of the people as it is the cars.
But you could still kind of do the ticket thing based on per car. you know, so if it's a family, they sign up, but that,
That's a good point.
so let's say we, I don't know, Lisa probably knows what the parking is, but let's say it's 50.
I've asked my wife, who is the,
Oh, okay.
who is the adult supervisor, at the lake for how many parking spots there are, she would,
And without boats, it's different.
No.
There's no boats that we can fit more cars in those
yeah,
spots.
because some of the spots are double long spots.
Oh, excellent.
So but you'd obviously have to know each other to be able to park, or you put the longer vehicle, like the expeditions and the longer vehicles into those spots that are, take up more space.
So
I apologize, I got here
That's
a little
okay.
late. So, this is the landowners?
yes,
Like,
last year I
okay.
came and met with you about this movie night.
Yes, and is this the night that they do that parade?
No, we actually have 4 events. One is a boat parade, and that is already scheduled for the weekend of the 4th. So whatever that Saturday is, July 6th, maybe?
And I'm asking because last year we posted something about it and then it didn't happen. And all
No,
these
it
people
was,
ended up.
yeah, so what happened was it was fireworks, and,
Yeah.
and that, when I was here, I mentioned that there were gonna be fireworks, but they were lake fireworks, and they were in the cove, and you couldn't see them from the
Yeah.
beach, and so there was a misunderstanding, and they started 2 hours late, so you had a problem.
Yeah.
But they were self-funded by a homeowner, and it didn't work out. But the boat parade is dated July 6th, and it starts at 2, I believe, and you can go online and see it. The person's Facebook page that's running this is Teresa Elliott, and it's also on our page, so there's a link to it. If anybody in town wants to participate, everybody's welcome. You're decorating your boat, there's a theme, and there'll be like 3 prizes, mostly gift cards. The movie night, we're thinking, I'm hoping August 1st works if it doesn't interfere with something, but it's a date that can be moved if that's not a good date, August 1st, which is a Friday night. There's also one other event, there's gonna be a poker run. I don't know when that is yet, but it'll be sometime in August. So yeah, we're trying to get to like 4 events where we invite people in to have fun
Yeah.
and enjoy the lake.
And I did, well, because I sat over there for just a second, heard you mention something about staffing the lake. We would have to staff the lake because we would need to be able to empty the trash cans and keep the bathrooms open.
Right.
For that, so we would have to staff the lake ourselves.
And so is there a cost for using the park, so that we're helping cover those expenses?
There is not right now. That would have to go through select board.
And there's enough of us that we can help you. I mean, we do a whole 300
We would
party
just
type
need
of thing every year.
Somebody to be there to make sure.
Okay.
So that's all.
Sure, but I know there's requirements, like I know that I have to have insurance, like, is it liability insurance that you guys have to have? Because the last time I was here, you said I had to have insurance, I remember it.
Any group, Pam, right? Groups that come in, like when the scouts come in, they've got insurance.
I
And
believe it is liability insurance,
Yeah, that's what I
is
think.
what it says on the form.
Is there a form that I can look at? Okay, that's what I'll do
It's
then.
on the where.nh.gov
Okay,
website. If you go under town administrator, and then it will be facility request form.
oh, okay, so I need to complete something and there's a list.
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
can I,
And if you, obviously like the boat parade and the other things, you know, if you say, hey, the boat parade is starting at 2, but is it 2 at the opposite end of the lake and.
No, yeah, there's
So you kind of
instructions.
like, hey, we'll probably be coming by Chase Park at like 2:15, 2:30, so that, you know,
Oh, I
we
see.
can kind of let them know, because it starts at 2 and people are sitting there going, where's the parade? And it doesn't show up for 45 minutes. And then maybe if somebody's running it and you're like, hey, we're delayed, call the gatehouse and say, hey, look, it's being delayed, so if people are there to watch it, that we can at least
Oh,
be able
absolutely.
to communicate and say, hey, they're delayed, they won't be going by the park until 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, I can totally do that. That's fine. That's not a problem.
I'm sorry, I just have another question. Maybe Pam, you could answer, I'm not sure. Or maybe you could, or maybe we could all figure this out. But if we as park were to do this with them, they don't need to have insurance, right? Because somebody from park there's gonna be employees there. So that's it's not the same as, like, say a group going in to use the gym, or the Boy Scouts coming without an employee there. Isn't that different?
probably.
We could probably run that, ask Naomi to run that through the risk
Legal,
management.
yeah.
I think they have a risk management person, because we did that when we were asking a question about, I think, the skate park or something. I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels, but, I mean, I would love to see us have some role. It'd be a collaborative effort between Parks and Rec, and not necessarily you doing all the work, but
Yeah.
us being able to help
Yeah, that'd
in
be
any way
fabulous.
that we can, and maybe it's small this year, but
Yeah,
we
build on
learn
it.
from it, and we could use our website, our Facebook page to help promote it for you, you know.
Yeah, that would be
different ways of
super
putting it
helpful.
out.
And I would almost do the tickets through the park, so people who are coming through would actually know it, and obviously our employees do enough, but, to say, hey, look, if there's a sign up that, hey, there's a movie night, it starts at,
It's kind of like when we do the library thing.
Yeah.
In the library, yeah.
Absolutely,
and,
yeah.
that way at 8, we can kind of shift people out, and then kind of basically reopen. So if they're there and they're, hey, you're here for the movie night, great, you can stay.
Great.
And then, obviously, that would be an event where we would not charge for the vehicle. So they would not need
So it's
they
just the
would need-
pass to get in.
they would have the movie pass to get in, but they would not have to have.
Yeah, we'd have to talk about that, I think, because we wouldn't charge for the vehicle necessarily, but if they were paying for something, I think we'd have to talk about
So
that.
the point of the matter is that whatever decision we all make about money, the plan is to give half of everything that we raise to the park. So whatever percentage that is of whatever that number is, be it $100 or more, it's going, we're not trying to make money, we're just trying to make a fun event.
Yeah.
But we also understand that you're gonna have to pay staff, and we have to pay for stuff too, like I have to pay the food truck, I have to pay for the movie, I have to pay for the licensing, so there'll be a cost. The Lake Association's dedicated to it, and the board already approved a $500 budget for me to be able to shell out deposits that I can recoup those expenses from whatever money we raise, if we raise money. So I also don't, I want families to be able to feel like they can afford to come with their kids and not, go broke, so.
I mean,
The-
I think this is a great way for us to get exposure for Chase Park too, for younger families or newer families who are new to town.
Right.
Who maybe haven't bought a season's pass, they're not sure if they're gonna use it, they're not sure of the facility. So I mean, I think making it your idea of, maybe there's a minimal fee, but it's not buying a pass for the car or whatever.
Right.
I mean, we haven't talked about that, but I think it'd be a great way to showcase Chase Park too for us. And to show families that it is a place you can go and have barbecues and picnics and
Right.
do birthday parties or events like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing is it's in August, so you've already lost all of June and July. But you'd be advertising it on your page, so that's another, another win, I
Yeah.
guess. And I can certainly come back to you, or you can come back to me and tell me what your input is on cost before we settle on the ticket generation. Does anybody have somebody locally that would do tickets, since you've already done it? Would you be willing to share outside the meeting, maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I did it on my computer.
We've made our own before,
I-
like for the pumpkin thing. we did.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can do that
happened to have
too.
the right kind of paper, and it was already
Mm-hmm.
terrible.
Okay,
We just made a bunch, but I could, happy to talk to you about how we set it up.
okay,
What we got for paper.
okay.
Paper you can get anywhere, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else you should, we're having our all-member meeting on the 6th at Chase Park. I don't know if anyone's told you guys that yet. But 7/7 is our meeting. So 7/6 is the parade, and the next day is our annual membership meeting where everyone's invited to come in and vote on different topics, and we always bring in a speaker, as you know. And so at that meeting, I'll be addressing this particular thing because it'll be new to the membership and get their input and more volunteers if possible.
The only thing I was gonna, when you were talking about food trucks, there's somebody local, I don't know if anybody knows,
Yes.
with a trolley.
Involved with
Yes.
scouts.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
that,
good.
she
Yeah,
does, they
she's
do
very good.
food.
Yeah, she's
I
very,
don't know
very
the
good.
name of it.
It's, her name's Tabitha Wood. We could definitely attempt to involve her, or at least contact her.
What's her name, I'm sorry?
Tabitha Wood.
Tabitha Wood.
Okay.
She's in my Cub Scout pack. She runs a trolley food truck. We could definitely reach out to her and see if
That'd be
she would
amazing.
like to be involved.
It's
Yeah.
very good.
It's, summertime is obviously her busiest time, but,
Yeah.
we might be able to see if she.
It's why I
would
didn't
work
pick a
with it.
Saturday, because I was afraid it'd be harder to find commitment from vendors. There is, I already have the ice cream truck committed, it happens to be a friend of mine, and she's doing it dirt cheap, like $75 just to show up, and that's it, and whatever else, people pay. So, there are some stuff that is already in play, if I could make this work, so. I did come for a second conversation if we're done with this one.
Yep.
So this is also associated with the Lake Owners Group. Last year, we approved at the all-in membership meeting in July that we wanted to be able to contribute or sponsor a family or a couple of kids or a kid, depending on how expensive that was, to go to camp or something fun for, maybe a family that couldn't really afford it. And so we approved a $500 sponsorship for that to be taken care of however it could be divvied up. And we were asked or charged with finding out if anyone had a recommendation for a camp, a family, maybe they don't want to bring their name forward, so maybe it would be the camp, and they'll know the family, and we just donate to the camp. But we're not sure how to actually make it happen, but we approved it last year so that this year, we're not too late for the camp, because kids are getting ready to finish school now, and we won't meet until mid-July, and by the time we do that, it's basically too late,
So most camps have already filled up for the summer.
Oh, they
And
have?
now, usually it's February is when you would sign up kids for summer camps.
Okay. Oh,
But
February?
Yeah,
Okay.
February, March is when you wanna really get that done.
So maybe we could
Good
roll
check.
last year's money.
Ooh, sorry. And so it's possible you could find something. I just thought of, one of the camps is Berry Conservation Camp, and the Conservation Commission.
Oh.
They may be somebody to talk to, because they also scholarship some kids to go
Okay.
occasionally.
Okay, and if it's too late, maybe the idea is that we get a couple camp ideas, and then we roll our last year money. We approve our next year's money this year, and then in February, we'd be able to do something for more than one.
The Boy
Okay.
Scouts too, we have a couple troops in town, and those camps they're kind of pricey, and
Yeah.
they do try to fundraise, but if you checked with the Boy Scout troops,
Okay,
there's some really great scout opportunities.
okay,
Just to expand on that, I am the current Cub Master with Pack 24, and I'm also involved with Troop 24 here in town. Scouts is always an option. I think contacting either us or the troop, or even just council down in Manchester at Camp Carpenter. I'm not sure how far you're willing to expand.
we really hope that it would go to where kids, to be honest with you.
Okay.
We're trying to be more inclusive in the community,
And I wouldn't wanna leave Girl Scouts out, so.
Of course.
and yeah, it could be boys
And,
or girls.
Also,
It could be both, it could be
Scouts.
one and
And
one.
and actually, the scout troops have, the Boy Scout troops, it's really very inclusive now.
No
It's all
families
boys
that
and girls.
send a kid to camp.
Only one of them.
Oh, only one of them does?
that's
Oh, I thought they all
not-
did now.
Yeah.
Okay,
they
so
don't have
tr-
to be had
So Troop
behind-
529
I
has
think I
both,
see someone here who might know something about
yeah,
it.
Troop 529 has both boys
Yeah.
and girls.
Oh, okay,
No, not my-
okay, and I could find that easily, just
Yeah,
Google
you've
it.
got one of the Scoutmasters back there,
It's
actually.
maybe that Scoutmasters might be able to tell you, I don't know, maybe the Scoutmasters might know if there was a child that wished they could go, the parents couldn't afford.
Right,
Yeah, because we don't really sponsor any camps, so.
So that maybe
Right.
the Scoutmasters could even point you to not only camps, but maybe a needy child or
Specific,
family
yeah.
that can't afford it.
yeah. And if that needs to remain confidential, the funds could flow to them, and they could flow it out to the kids. And then they wouldn't have to share that information with us, that's fine. Okay, that was all I had for tonight, thank you.
That's very kind.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
The Ware Facebook page too, do you use that at all?
I do, my husband manages the social page for our association, And so we have a Facebook page and we have a regular Google page, and your page is linked into our page, so that everything you cycle comes into
But there's
ours.
one other one, the where.
Oh,
We
it,
Are Where.
like the families?
Yeah, because
Yes.
sometimes that's a way to get broadly put out, we're looking for camp ideas, or we're looking to sponsor.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so that, because they have a lot of people who, good and bad, comment on that.
I've seen the.
There are specific, family groups though. There's a Ware area parents and a kids and parent connection group. There's specific parents.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are welcome to stay, or if you guys are done with your comments, you're welcome to leave, and we won't take anything less of you.
So next we have John Moll to present Eagle Project update.
Hello, I'm John Wool. Just giving an update on the Chase Park Bench project. So, at this point, I just need a date for when we should put these benches out. Is there any questions about what's gonna happen with them, or?
I had a question about the locks. Are they all the same lock, all the same key?
Yep.
Okay, good. And we just need to figure out a date with Kristen when she can.
Right, well, Kirsten would only do Chase Park, so we had to figure out, how many total benches were there again?
So there's 18. What I was thinking is we can put the original 10 at Chase Park, and I believe you guys run the tennis court and you cover the gazebo. We could maybe put 4 at the tennis court and also 4 at the gazebo.
So we talked about 4 at the tennis courts before, right?
Yes, and them not being locked,
Yeah.
going inside the fence, but no locking or putting them in the ground.
And I'm wondering if one of the ball fields might be a better place for the remaining 4.
I
That's-
do know there were some benches at the Bolton lacrosse fields that are needing to be removed because they're really unsafe. And so having some replacement benches
Yeah, and I
would
don't know
probably
that
be
we'd
very
want,
nice.
I don't know that we'd want those, fixed in. Chase Park, the reason that we had asked about them being fixed in is because people have a tendency to put things in the water. Like picnic tables. So the benches just seemed a little easier to move. So I don't know that
At the
they,
fields, I would think we would want to be able to move them.
because we mow around things, yeah.
Do
a little
you,
more.
would you think that you'd need more than 4? Would more than 4 be helpful at Bolton?
Cause we don't have to have 10 at Chase
I
Park.
mean,
But we don't
I'd-
have to have 4 at the tennis courts either, we could do 2 at the tennis courts and 6 at,
so I really was only on the one field, and I would think, 4 would be more than ample, because you don't really, I don't think you would put benches on the parents' side. I would think you would put benches on the team could actually sit on the benches, which would
The benches
actually.
are not really big enough, the benches are only for 2 or 3 kids, so
Okay,
that's probably not going
right,
to work.
so like
for-
4 benches,
put together.
Or you put them around, I would put more of them around maybe the outfield of. the
Well, people
baseball.
can move them as they need them if they're loose, because they could be really useful,
If they're loose in a place like Bolton Field, they're going to walk away.
Yes, that's the problem with both.
Are the other benches, I know the benches that are down at Purington have been there for years, and the ones that are at Inison have been there for years.
Yeah, but the Iverson ones are long.
Yeah, they are long.
They're long, they're not something that is easy to, sorry, is not easily moved, where, they're not really good, they'd be good for parents, they're not really good for teams to sit on, because obviously you just have fights with, the benches will probably fit, 2 or 3 kids?
2.
2.
How long are the benches right now? would you say?
We did not have benches to sit on, the kids sat on the ground. And it was harder for them, the younger kids, to like pay attention to the game because you weren't organizing them on a bench.
Which field was that?
It's, so like not the football field, the one across.
Soccer
from it.
field.
So, yeah, so it was, striped for like younger
Yeah.
lacrosse players,
If you
yeah.
did 3, say we did 6 benches, 3 together. 3 together, it would be better than nothing. 'Cause you got.
I would think that would be really good.
Can I make a recommendation? Seeing as how's the Eagle Project only focus on initially the 10 at Chase, correct?
Yes,
And then we got 8 extra bonus
yes, because I fundraised enough money to build the 8.
to not hold up things for his Eagle Project or for us. I would propose we set up a date, if this works for everybody, get the 10 established at Chase, because they have to
Yeah.
be secured. And then, would everybody be good with the idea of accepting the 8, and then Park
We can
makes a
move them
decision
where
and,
they need.
yeah, moves
Yeah.
them however we see need.
Yeah,
And that way, that just
That's
gets
a good
everything
one.
closed out. We're not debating about whether we have 8 benches. We've accepted all 18.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to close out his project, and, things
Yeah.
get to move forward, so.
And whether we put all 10 at Chase or whether we decide to only put 8 and then with that spares to move, 'cause-
well, he has to lock down
Right.
the
we can
ones
lock-
he's putting at Chase, so.
The ones he's putting at Chase, we'll lock them
Yeah.
down and you and Kristen can figure out a time.
Yeah.
I know the park opens the 20th, correct? Full time, so sometime after the 20th,
I don't
after school
have,
gets
and I don't
out.
have my calendar with me right now, so I apologize, but it wouldn't matter, cause I don't have Kristen's calendar with me, but we
Do
can
you need-
figure
You
out.
want Kristen and yourself there, or just a representative?
Kristen and I both need to be there,
Both need to be
yeah.
there. Okay.
So we'll have to maybe, figure out when we can get that done, that's all.
Anything else?
Do you have a date at which what's your deadline date that you're working on?
I don't know. Whenever, as soon as we can get them done.
Okay.
If I can interrupt as the keeper of his schedule. The 15th afternoon or the 16th afternoon is the best for him,
I could do after school any day.
The 15th or 16th
which
of,
is a Saturday or Sunday of June.
15th is graduation.
so I've got graduation all weekend, like Eva's graduating, so the 15th, the 16th I could possibly do, I'd have to talk to Kristen.
16th is Sunday?
After shooting. No. Okay, I guess that's not a good day.
Yeah, the 15th is Saturday's graduation is
Yeah.
out.
So after in school's out on the 19th, correct?
Yes, for students, not for teachers.
Okay. So I
So-
think we should try,
Yeah,
sort of to Matt's point, so we're not dragging
yeah, we
it
wanna
out.
try to get scheduled in.
If we could say we'll try not to let it go beyond that following weekend, that we will get something lined up.
Yeah.
At the very latest, that
The
following.
yeah, what's the next weekend after this?
22nd and 23rd.
Yeah, so are
So the 23rd you could do.
the 23rd, is that a Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would,
That's the Sunday after Patriotic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That would probably work for me. We could just have to check with Kristen.
She'll probably be there,
Yeah.
23rd.
Yeah. I just have to check my calendar.
What is it, June 23rd?
Yep.
Yes.
June 23rd.
So you will confirm, Lisa?
I will confirm with Kristen, and then, John, if you wanna shoot me an email, hold on, I'm gonna try to message her right now and see if it'll work. And I don't have my calendar with me, unfortunately.
I keep getting, it's airing out in here for whatever reason.
I know. I think Verizon's having problems right now.
I do have to say while we're waiting, that one bench you put in, I used it when I was paddle boarding and to put my stuff on, it was very convenient.
Good.
It
It's
was,
a sweet spot.
yeah, it was nice right there. You could sit there for a while and,
Well, they're good-looking benches. We were up there for the Cub Camp over, and
Yeah, they are.
those are some good-looking benches.
So-
I'm excited to see them put out.
it'll be nice to have them out there.
Yeah. I just gotta put some plaques on them.
Do you have a plan for that already, or you
Yeah.
post-project?
I'll get them on.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I sent Kristen a text message, hopefully it'll go through. So, we can follow up, hopefully we can get it on schedule
So, June 23rd.
Sweet.
Tentative,
tentatively. Yeah,
penciled in?
Until then.
Okay. As a side note, if you need assistance, let me know.
All right.
Get some Cub Scouts down there.
Okay. Well, any other questions?
One of them was, I noticed, needs to be re-screwed together.
We did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just when they were being pulled out, I just happened to notice one of them wasn't connected together correctly.
Could have been because when we originally built them, the boards were wicked wet. So they probably just dried and shrunk.
yeah,
Yeah,
It happens.
happens.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
John.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so,
You have any more from
No, but I
public
think
comment
that
for the back?
everybody's the for scouts.
Okay.
so
And apparently whack too.
And what?
Nominations and
up
elections?
For elections of officers.
Well, I'd like to nominate.
Well,
Yes,
well, before we nominate,
Oh, to establish.
is anyone interested in chairperson?
I am actually. I feel like I've been here. This is my fourth year. I've learned a lot about Parks and Rec. I think I've shown that I've given a lot of time, not that everybody hasn't, but being retired and being able to do a lot of the running around, I really would like to have an opportunity to be chair for a year. And, based on the work that I've done and the time I've put in.
We maybe start with people who have no desire to be in an office.
I have no desire to be in any office at all.
Okay.
I feel like as a new member, I'm getting my feet wet, and I would better serve by not taking an official role this first year.
Anybody else not interested in anything?
I'm fine to stay as vice chair if, you know, you want to put Denise as the chairman and put Matt as the vice chair. Whatever people decide is fine.
We want to just go with floor nominations, I guess, and then go to elections?
I think we can do that.
Okay. I guess we'll just start, go around the table.
Okay. Do I have to start?
I'll start.
We can start with Dave.
I'm gonna Denise as chairman.
Chair. Any other nominations for chair? I nominate myself for chair.
So do we have any, so we would need seconds
Well,
or discussions?
as I understand the process, we would go through the nominations for all offices. And then once those have been determined, then hold a vote on each office. That's how I understand it.
Well, then I would like to nominate Dave with his experience as vice chair. Since we're expanding and have new members, I'd like to nominate Dave for vice chair.
I'm gonna nominate Matt for vice chair.
I would nominate Denise for vice chair, if not elected chair, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but alternate, I guess.
Do we, Pam, now that we have a minute taker, do we need a secretary or? we kind of need somebody when the minute taker's not available,
I
correct?
think we need to have someone to just follow along with the agenda and make sure that the votes themselves are recorded. And then to step in when Kirsten is not available to do the minutes.
That was my understanding as well, and also, I think it's by RSA, the secretary does need to have a solid position, because if the chair and vice chair are not available, then the secretary would be the next in step before a random collection, so we would need nominations for secretary as well.
Shelby, would you have any interest in being in that role? Or would you prefer to just stay on as a member like Pam just said?
If I can get the Wi-Fi to actually work,
We'll work on that.
then I'm happy to do that. I would only take notes, like typing, because I don't like my handwriting.
I think that my understanding is that now we have a minute taker, provided we have a minute taker. As long as we have an internet connection working in this room, and we're in this room, that individual takes the minutes. If we find ourselves in another room, or this is not working, then I think we revert, my understanding was we revert to somebody taking the minutes here.
So I would just always want to come prepared with my Chromebook charged and ready to go, and make sure that I could actually get
So-
on Wi-Fi.
Then I would, if you would willing to take the nomination, I would nominate Shelby for
I would
secretary.
take the nomination for that position, yes.
I would nominate Denise as an option for secretary as well.
I wouldn't accept that. For
Okay.
3 years, I've been doing minutes.
No, no,
and
that's-
I'm
That's part of the
not
process.
interested.
That's part of the process, if I'm
Sorry, but-
who's interested now.
I have done my share of minutes
Of
for
course.
the last 3 years. I'm done with that. Not.
I mean, I would,
didn't.
Matt, if the other positions are filled not with you, would you be interested in secretary?
Yeah. Sure, I would put my name in the hat.
All right. So Pam, as the chairman, are you going to run this, or do you need me to run it as vice chair? Or,
I will let you run it.
okay. So I guess then how, are we doing it just by show of hands, or how are we doing this by secret ballot? How-
That is the big question, is that how do we decide to do this? Do we do it on the floor? Do we do it
Does-
by ballot?
Doesn't there first and foremost have to, each nomination
In a second.
have to have a second? Correct me if
I don't believe so. It's just, if you're nominated, you accept the nomination. It's not like, we're not making a vote.
Okay, I
as a-
didn't know.
As a board.
I didn't know if
today.
legally you had to have a second.
No, it's not a motion of
Okay.
any sort.
Yeah, my understanding with nominations and elections is that, yeah, you don't need motions and seconding for that.
Okay, so for
Do
the
we
chair,
are we having discussion or just a straight vote?
Denise, did you have anything else you wanted to add as why you wanted to be chairman? And then we'll let Matt say what his piece, and then we'll.
No, like I said, I've been, this will be my 4th year on the commission. I have worked to get to know every single square inch of every park. I have been very involved here at the town office, very involved with the community, the senior meal. I just feel like I haven't put my name forward for 2 reasons in the past. One, we were in Florida, and I didn't think it was right to be a chair and not here 4 months of the year. We're not doing that anymore, so we are here full-time. And prior to this year, I felt like I was still on a learning curve. There was a lot I didn't understand because I hadn't been on the commission, so I think that's why I feel, at least for this year, I have a lot of knowledge that I bring to the table and would enjoy doing it because I'm retired. I'm here in town all day long and can run around, as I think you've seen in the past.
Okay. So I acknowledge of not being on the commission very long or having much activity with Park in particular since being in town. I do have a background of management, which I believe is more the goal for chair or vice chair in either of the offices. It's more of a managerial position. Knowledge is needed as well. And like I said, I acknowledge that I don't have necessarily experience with Park, but I believe I bring a lot to the table with managerial experience. And I am unafraid of just go ahead and tackling things head on, and approaching the issues as they come up.
I would then just like to add that I spent 35 years in healthcare, 20-plus years as a vice president managing a multi-million-dollar budget and projects. So I too bring to the table extensive management. I had over 100 people working for me, working on personnel policies, having to do counseling, hiring, firing. So I'm very familiar with state laws, those types of things based on the role that I had before I retired.
Okay. Do you want to just do it by a show of hands? Or do we want to do it by a show of hands?
We can do a
Eyes?
roll.
What?
We can do a roll.
We can do a roll? All right, so I guess we'll start with me. I say for Denise. Lisa?
Are we starting with,
To go by
We're going,
office.
we're going by chairman,
To
sorry.
go by office, yeah.
Yes, we're going by chairman, so we have Denise or Matt.
I'm go with Denise. She's really proven that she's been able to handle a lot more than most of us who work during the day lately, and I appreciate everything she's doing, so yes, Denise.
Denise,
And because I want it, I'm going to vote for myself.
okay. Matt,
I will vote for myself as well.
okay.
I will vote for Denise.
And I'm gonna vote for Matt.
Well, we have 4-2, and if our James wants to weigh in, you can weigh in, but
I think I will abstain from this vote for
Okay.
now.
so Denise will be our new chairman.
Thank you very much.
And now we'll go on to vice chair, so we have myself and Matt, correct? Was the two people we had for that?
Correct.
Obviously, I've been on the park, I think 8 years now. And done it a very long time, obviously, as vice, I just decided to do vice chair because of making sure that obviously with people having family relations with the staff at Chase, I felt it was not appropriate for me to be the chairman, so that's why I've been the vice chair. There's never been a conflict of interest, there's never been any issues in all of the time that we've been there, so I'm very happy to continue on as vice chair. I think we've heard from that.
Yeah, I
I
think
think we've heard from that,
that's
so
the
we
same
pretty much the
argument,
same
yeah, so-
speech. So I guess we'll start with vice chair, and we'll start at the opposite end this time, we'll start with Pam.
I'm gonna vote for Matt.
Okay. James, are you going to abstain again, or do you want us to come back to you? We could do you last.
I think me personally, I'm going to abstain from,
Okay.
from these votes.
Shelby?
So I'm gonna vote for Dave.
Okay,
No, I will vote for myself.
okay,
I'm going to vote for Dave.
okay.
So, I'm gonna vote for Dave because I think it's important that officers are, for the most part, have been here and have been doing a lot, and Dave, I really do. On top of that, I appreciate all the extra stuff that you do, and, you know, you spend a lot of extra time, so.
Okay. And I'll vote for myself again, so that'll make it 4 for Dave for vice chair, 2 for Matt. And then for chairman, it was 4 for Denise and 2 for Matt, just for the minute taker, which takes us down to secretary. We had just Shelby, or did we have Shelby and Matt as,
On Shelby and Matt,
I think we had both.
Yeah.
what?
We had both.
Okay.
Okay.
Shelby, did you want to comment any more on?
I would be more willing than unwilling if that's the position you're in.
I would like to defer and, had there not been anyone else who wanted to do it, I would have been happy to serve in that manner. But I do think that, I listen better and contribute better when I'm not taking notes. And so I think I'll better serve, the commission if Matt were to take that role.
Okay.
Thanks for your
Since
honesty.
Matt is running unopposed as secretary, we will.
I think we still vote.
We still vote? Pam?
Matt?
Matt?
Matt.
Matt,
And Matt.
Mickey Mouse.
So that gets 6 on secretary. All right, so now,
Yay.
Congratulations.
Denise, congratulations, you can take over the rest of the meeting.
Great, thank you. I appreciate it. And, you know, I hope I do a good job, and I want this to be open discussion and open agendas, so go from there.
can I say something first?
Yes,
Pam, thank you.
yes, Pam,
That
thank
you
you
were
so much.
amazing,
Yes.
you were really very, very, very good at keeping us on track, and I really appreciate it. More than you know, probably, actually, she probably does know. Anyway, thank you for that.
We need you to continue to keep us on track.
Thank you.
I do want just a point of clarification. So Pam, you were, during the meeting, since we've had the minute taker, are you taking notes, or,
I'm taking notes just so I can remember what happened.
okay. So I would like to, because it's similar to what Shelby just said, for me, it's hard to talk and take notes. So I think that for the role of the secretary, and it was my understanding from Naomi, it was just the big things like,
Votes.
if we vote, so that if the minute taker has a question, somebody just has it jotted down. We agreed $500 and it was 5-1 or whatever. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. That
Okay.
was kind of my game.
Okay,
Was, yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. I just want to make sure we're all on the same pages, so. We have a number of sets of minutes that have to be approved. I think it was deferred at the last meeting.
Yeah.
So we have draft minutes for February, March, April, and then the May minutes from the last meeting. So wait, can we start, let's start with the February minutes. Did everybody have a chance to look at those? And does anybody have anything that they need changed, edited?
Nope.
That's fine.
I'm pretty sure I found there was no issues with any of them up till last month's.
Okay, so we'll get to May in a minute then. So February,
So if I,
Yeah.
did you have any,
I feel like back the first time that I reviewed it, there was just like some typos that I would have corrected. But I'm not able to get into my documents
Do you
because
wanna
I
look
can't
at-
get it, I can't get the password to work. Yeah, could I look at it just?
I have physical copies of
You do?
February and
Okay.
March.
Can I just quickly?
Yeah.
Okay.
and I wouldn't be shocked if there weren't typos since I typed them, so.
I did have adjustments for April, only because it concerned the walkthrough for Carrington Field.
So just to
let's stay on February.
state, I'm a,
Sorry.
yeah, if,
Yeah, sorry.
while they're looking, do you know how many keys Josh has for those locks?
Jonathan
Jonathan, sorry.
I think there's a set of keys for each lock, but they're all the same lock.
Okay.
That's
So
what I
there's
recall.
basically 18 keys there.
So they can get locked in the lock thing at Chase Park.
Yeah,
Right, spot for 'em.
so then we can we can put on a board member key ring too.
While they're working on that, how do I have no idea how to access my email. The park email, I don't know how to do it.
I still haven't been able to do it.
So you have to go, it's important to have the instructions that the gentleman from IT sent.
Okay.
And you go to, there's an app you have to go to, it's a security app.
Okay.
You get the security lock, because you're gonna need that. So you get the security lock first, and it's pretty easy if you follow the steps. And you can get that security lock right on your phone.
Okay.
Then you go back, and the one challenge I had was, I didn't realize I thought we were using our username, but you have to type in exactly what he put in the email and that password, and that will get you in.
All right, I'm gonna.
And I'm happy to help you.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
email.
you'd have to find his original, the email that he or Naomi sent, because I think we each had our own
Yes.
unique passwords, so.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble, Pam, because you already have a
No,
gov.gov?
they set up a new email address for me, and I have the authenticator,
Yep,
and I've tried a bunch of times.
Are you going through, are you trying to set it up on a laptop and using the app on your phone? Because you don't want to try and do it all on your phone.
Oh,
You want to be accessing to set up the account like through, it's through Microsoft, but you want to be doing that on a computer and using the app for the security key
Okay.
on your phone. If you try and use it both on your phone, it won't play
Because I'm
nice.
never with my computer
Because
and my
it's a
phone at the
security
same time.
thing.
It's just, yeah, it's the security thing, it's just the way that the whole system is set up. You need to log in, you're gonna have to log in through a browser.
Okay.
You also have to download the Outlook app.
Yeah,
and I will just tell you that, and I'm blanking on his name, but the gentleman from IT, Nick, set up an appointment with me, because at first I couldn't get in either, but when I discovered that I was using the wrong username, it went right through. But Nick was very good about scheduling a time at my convenience to get on the phone with me to walk me through it, so that's an option too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, mine's set up on my phone, so I have my totally separate Comcast email, and I have a separate Outlook
Same here.
for the government emails, and I get everything on my phone.
yeah, I ended up setting it up so it just feeds to my Outlook app on my phone.
I can't even find the email that I got.
Yeah,
It would have been sent from Naomi.
And it was like,
Come from Naomi a long time ago.
Yeah, and research.
And you could even ask Naomi if she could resend it to you.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I would say that once I got the security piece on my phone and sat down at my computer, in less than 10 minutes, it was up and running.
Are you still reviewing the minutes, Shelby?
oh, yeah, so there are a couple of things, and so I don't know, do we want to be word for word, like, do we want to make corrections if there are?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so under the role of ex officio and development of a charter, where it says including are they our voting members, if we can just change it to
Are
say
they voting members?
including if they are voting members.
Yeah, if you,
Member,
Feel free,
okay.
go ahead and,
if you could write that on there, because then we can approve with those changes.
Okay.
And this particular copy I have, then I can go make that.
I can't believe I didn't get that.
Okay, and I recall that those were the only two small things that.
So so read again what
Okay.
you're making the change on.
For it to read, a conversation took place around the role of ex officio, including if they are voting members. As part of this conversation, it was identified that Parks and Recreation doesn't have an official document to govern the commission.
Okay. So then what we would need to do is have a motion to approve the minutes with those changes and seconded for us to get the approval on those.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes with those few changes.
I'll second.
So we have a motion on the floor from Shelby O'Donnell, seconded by Pam Mills. A lot for the February minutes along with those changes. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion made. All right, so can I take that?
Of course.
That was your copy.
You're good.
All right, so now we have the March minutes.
Are you voting on that, James, or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 7-0 as far as the approval on the word, sorry.
Okay. Just say,
Let me give you the first half of February.
no, I'll just put February in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So now we have the March minutes. Did anyone have any concerns, changes for March?
No.
Nope.
Okay, so do we have a motion? And when we make a motion, if you could state your name just for the minute taker, that'd be great. Motion to approve the March minutes,
I'll make a motion to approve the March minutes as is.
and you are.
Matthew Beeler.
Shelby O'Donnell seconds that emotion.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Passes 7-0.
All in favor. All right, so March minutes approved. Okay, April minutes.
So April minutes.
Matt, you said you had a comment on,
It was just the portion where it talks about the site walkthrough at Purington Field.
yep,
Said 5 teams will be using the field. Overall field was in good shape with some limb damage near the fence, which will be taken care of by the town's lawn care contractors. I just wanted to have it made record that the scouts were taking care of that
okay,
and that it wasn't the town line contractors.
okay.
So I can just give you this for the note to insert, I guess.
So
instead of
you want to
how-
read it?
Sure.
So, yeah,
My modification will be that it would not be, will be taken care of by the town. It will be storm debris on fence line to be cleared by, what is now Scouts America volunteers on 20 April.
right. And
And I will
make a
make a
motion.
motion to make those adjustments and then approve the minutes with those included.
Do we have a second to that?
I'll second Pam Moore.
Any discussion on that? Did that work complete when you said April
That was.
that was the date it got
Yes.
completed? Okay,
Yes.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the motion passed. Can I take these from you?
Absolutely. Here, I'll go.
Okay, so those are the April ones. All right, so then the May minutes were the ones that were posted. Now, and maybe James, you could, for the Board of Selectmen, when the minutes are done, do you get a copy mailed to you? Or do you go to the website and pick them up?
Pretty much just go to the website.
Website and pick them up, that's the process, okay. So they were, did everybody get out to the website and take a look at them, the last month's minutes? May? All right.
I don't know.
Okay, do we want to defer then till next month? The May minutes?
Yeah.
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 That's fine.
let's-
Now,
yeah.
where on the website are they?
So if you go on Parks and Rec, you go over to the right-hand side, you'll see agendas first, and then you'll see minutes.
Okay.
And it's usually like all of these are listed as drafts. And then when we vote on them, they'll move to the approved
Okay.
minutes. And the format will change now. The format will be the same as the rest of the formats for the rest of the town.
With a line, item format for editing or no? Just like that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. So just as we look at the minutes, one of the things I think is important is when we have minutes and we assign somebody to a task, we make sure we're clear. Denise Purington was assigned to so that we have that. What I like to do is recap in the next meeting, did we get to do the things that we said that we did? So there were a couple things when I read the May minutes, not having been at the meeting, that kind of left me with some questions. So we won't approve them tonight, but I did want to ask a couple, or get some clarification so that as you do read the minutes, if we need to adjust those at all. So one of the comments that I would make is that we just make sure that we all, we state who's assigned to what task and if it got done. So I did want to, I had a couple questions. I know there were discussions regarding dodgeball on the tennis courts. And a couple questions that maybe you could help me with. And I wanted to clarify a comment made. There was some discussion about the fragile nature of the nets, which if anybody has seen the nets there, they are already torn. Replacing the nets, I would imagine, are expensive but not impossible. The concern that I expressed about the fragile nature of the nets were not the nets themselves, but are the mechanisms of the poles on either side. Pam, I think you experienced this last year. One is already broken, and when you unroll it, if you don't take the broken piece off and tie it to the net, you won't have it next year, and that becomes problematic. So I know there was some discussion at last month's meeting about the dodgeball people taking the nets down and putting them back up. I would highly discourage that. They are very rusty, they are very fragile, and those poles are cemented in the ground. So if they get damaged, we won't be able to put the nets back up. So I don't know how, it wasn't clear to me how that was left. Were they going to attempt to take nets down or put them back
So,
up?
I've also experienced those nets, and yeah, they can't take them down, and I think I thought I said that last month, that they wouldn't be able to take them down.
I think that is where it went, was
Yeah.
we, either you or we basically just said like, just don't touch the
But then,
nets.
so I also would like to add that I've thought about that some more since that meeting, and I'm worried about somebody in a motion of dodgeball hitting that net and falling over and cracking their head. I don't think it's really a safe place for it there. I just think it's a safety issue.
So,
I'm not,
I think to that same point, my second question from the minutes was there any discussion around, one, the town invested $15,000 to put a very specific court down, a surface down, to be used for tennis, pickleball, court shoes. And also, so, I think about, we have a policy right now that doesn't allow golfers to practice chipping on our soccer fields and our football fields for a reason, because they damage the surface. And I think when we did the walkthrough, many of you saw the size of the cracks that have come back in that court. Now, right now, they're not in the tennis playing surface, so they don't pose a danger, but they are in the surface up there. If you're gonna have 5, 10, 15, 20 people running around, it's significant enough, one, that somebody could catch their toe in that crack, and two, it would potentially lift the surface. And if we start losing the surface, then we lose the courts. And so I just wondered if there was any discussion about safety and the investment in the specific surface that was put down, the specific lines that were laid, that were not ever intended to have people running back and forth and bouncing off the nets and those kinds of things. I mean, I guess I wasn't here, so
Yeah, it was, sorry, and I thought about it afterwards. I think it caught us off guard, and I know that when Janine was here, sometimes we didn't make decisions like that until later, like when we had time to discuss it. I guess, and I have another question. I'm just thinking, they make these pits for this purpose. It's just, they make these like barriers. It's not even a pit. It's like, they call it something though.
No, it's a dodgeball pit.
But
It's
they
just
call
a-
it,
it's a square,
yeah, on a school playground though, they call it something
Gaga
different.
pit.
Yeah,
It's a Gaga pit.
a Gaga pit, yeah. So, maybe that's something that people could look into, if there's a group of people that really wanna do that, doing that, and then we could maybe find spot somewhere where that could be set up in the summer. Maybe
I just,
there's a section that, at a field somewhere, whether it's a town field or a school field, where that could be set up.
I wanted to make sure, because we have new people, that everybody recognized that it was very difficult to find a company to resurface the tennis courts.
Nobody wanted to do it.
The company that had been managing it for us refused to do it. They felt that it shouldn't be done. They had already done it 3 times. Vermont Rec was willing to do it, but stated very clearly, these courts will not be able to have another surface, that they're too old. The next repair is complete grinding up of the surface, removal of all the chain link fences, grinding up of the surface, and having to lay a new surface. And we're probably talking, we got an estimate 2 years ago, it was $1 million. That's what a court goes for. So I just wanted to be sure, as everybody voted to allow an activity that really isn't intended for a tennis surface, that we have a surface that cannot be repaired again, and that if we lose it as a tennis/pickleball surface, until we raise approximately $1 million to replace it, we would have to shut the courts down. And it would be a shame. I know when I drive by there on any given day, people they're being used. John Stark, for example, reached out to me recently and asked if, instead of using it 1 day a week for their tennis club, could they use it 2 days a week? The girls have had such a great time that they're now doing it on Wednesdays and Fridays. I would hate to see a facility like that be damaged, and now, John, our students can't use it. I'm seeing more and more middle school kids up there bringing their pickleball nets and playing pickleball. So I want to caution, is that a decision that we should rethink about, having maybe information that you didn't have at last month's meeting about the state of the infrastructure up there? And maybe we'd have the same decision, I don't know, but I wanted to make sure, particularly the new people, understood the history of what we went through to get that new surface down, and the damage that we're already seeing 3 years in, just from being in New England in going through winters.
I can honestly say that that was not part of the discussion, and I don't think that the members that were here took it into consideration. And again, it's because it was presented and
Yeah.
we rushed to judgment. Now that it is being refreshed, we're getting more information, not getting more information, but being reminded of what has happened and where we are in the life of that last resurfacing, that I think we're putting it at a risk.
We did speak about safety. I think we went over it. It's the safety aspect alone. We definitely talked about concerns about the nets and stuff like that, the poles, stuff like that. So that was definitely gone over.
But the cracks are also, it's a town liability.
To a
Because-
point where we had a couple, was it last year or the year before, where the select board went and looked at it and thought about shutting it
So
down?
before we resurfaced it, the select board was going to shut the courts down because of the cracks in the play surface.
Yeah.
We measured them, we looked at were they level and all of that, and the select board agreed to let us use the courts for one more year, and then they were resurfaced. The current crack, and it literally is growing little trees out of it. I personally haven't had a chance to get up there and haul them out. It is not in the play surface for tennis or pickleball, it runs down the middle, but it most certainly would be in the path of dodgeball players. And it wouldn't take, number one, a sneaker of a toe to get caught in that. Not only would they trip, but would they lift the surface along with it? Because if you look at the cracks, they don't crack evenly, and little pieces of surface are sitting inside them. And as you know, last year I tried to fill many of the cracks as I could. We still have a bucket of crack filler, but I want to see us find an accommodation for the dodgeball group. I think it's a great thing. I'm just not sure why we would take a facility in the same way we wouldn't let golfing happen on the football field. You know, why would we let a non-court, sport happen on with a special surface for playing pickleball and tennis? Not to mention, if they're sharing it with a group playing tennis and dodgeballs are flying all over the court, where's the risk there? It's one thing when you have two tennis groups playing, or tennis and pickleball, you got little balls that you can holler as they come across the court, but if you've got people throwing a dodgeball and you've got a tennis player playing on the other side, what's the risk to the tennis player? So I'm just throwing it out there for reconsideration. I'm not right this second. I'm putting it out there that there didn't seem to be enough clarification in the minutes when I read of what the discussion was around the safety.
I was sick at the last meeting, so did we have a quorum?
We did,
We did.
yeah. We did have a quorum, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And-
sorry,
and so-
Denise, I wasn't even thinking, I think, I agree with Pam, I think that I needed to have a little refresher too, and it was something that caught me off guard.
So we have, and I'm going to defer it to the committee. We have an agenda item for an update on the tennis courts because we've had some other damage up there that I need to bring to your attention. We can defer further discussion at that point in the agenda. I was just getting clarification from you personally on the minutes. And to understand where and then the other question I had from the minutes, it wasn't clear whether we had all employees for the lake approved. Did we have any outstanding employees?
We have one outstanding, because he's at volleyball every Monday night, but he's on the agenda for next week,
Okay,
next Monday.
okay.
Volleyball schedule and the select board schedule.
Let me see. Was there, and again, on the playground, there was discussion, but I didn't really see any decisions in the minutes. Were there any decisions made or just discussions?
So, give me one sec, because I did have notes on that, because I was, so, Decision was made for me to make attempts to try and block the slide some more, without investing any money. And that's an update I can do later, but there was a decision for me. I volunteered to try and make efforts to block the slide and do a deeper look at the damages on it. There was a volunteer by myself as well to get quotes about sandbox, sand replacement and framing, and some quotes on wood chips, which I do have some updates on for later on with the rest of the updates on that.
So for clarification, since we're not voting on the minutes and we could have them clarified, then I would like to request that on the Bolton Field section of the minutes, that we just clarify that Matt will be getting quotes for wood chips, sand, and the replacement ties for the playground.
Say framing.
Framing, okay. So that would be assigned to you. And then, was it yellow tape that you put around the slide? Is that what
I
was
did
being taken
multiple
down?
efforts.
Yeah, but it's being taken down, okay. So we'll have more updates when we get to that, but just, we could adjust the minutes for that. And then,
You and I can get together and we'll
Okay.
formulate how we want to word it, but
okay.
I agree we can amend that.
And then, on the dedication of the fields, again, it was just a clarification. Did somebody forward to the Board of Selectmen? It said, and it forwarded,
I think we said we
I
would
think-
send him back to
Yeah.
more, we were sending.
but did we, so it said
All
that
back
you,
to the
Matt,
board.
said you spoke to the town of Bow and the city of Concord, both have policies regarding this topic.
Yeah.
And it is forwarded to the Board of Selectmen. Did you forward it to the board?
No, so I can clarify on that and we can make an amendment, is that the clarification would be that their policies for those towns is that memorial dedications are forwarded to the Board of Selectmen.
So for the sake of the minute taker who's listening, then we'll just make a correction to that, that it should read that you, in speaking with the town of Bow and the city of Concord, their policies reflect that these type of memorial requests are forwarded or are sent to the Board of Selectmen.
Their Board of
That's what
Selectmen.
the discussion was.
But I
Okay.
thought we discussed it and decided that, a bench is a nice thing to do, but we weren't gonna dedicate a field.
Yes, we're just talking about clarifying
Yes.
Did something
that.
get sent? So this makes it clear for me,
Yeah.
nothing, it looked like somebody had to send something to the board. Okay, that makes it clear for me then.
That was just
And
information.
then on the bylaws, it indicated that you had a discussion about membership, but it did not reflect in the minutes if you made a decision.
We did not. I was assigned with bringing a draft with, I think we said we were focusing on membership and offices.
Okay,
And I do have that stuff, but yeah,
Okay.
the assignment was for me to bring in a draft with the primary focus on membership.
okay, so then we could just, again, because we haven't voted on these and she has the opportunity to correct them, that it would just indicate that you, Matt, will be bringing back to the board your recommendations for membership size and officers. Was that the two you just said? Membership and
Let's just go with membership.
membership, okay. All right, so that will come back from you as a recommendation, all right. And I think regarding the barbecue, it will come up on the agenda. All right, so that will just help us, since we're not approving the minutes, that would give an opportunity for them to, for her to make corrections before we vote on them. All right. And I think that's part of the reason it's good for us to have clarity if somebody is missing and they can read the minutes and at least they know what the decision was and who was assigned to it. All right,
Agreed.
Great. All right, so we will defer May minutes. If I could get everybody though to take a look at them and at the same time, look for the June minutes to be posted on the website. So I'd like at the next meeting to do both May and June. I'd like to get back to where we could try to do them every month if possible. Okay, Chase Park, I wondered if we could just get an update on how the opening went. Either
well.
Dave or Lisa.
Yeah, it went well. I was there, I went for opening day to spend the morning, which was good because we needed an adult to tend to traffic. There were several boats lined up at one point on both sides of the road, which is very dangerous through there. There were a couple people who were critical of how we were doing things, and I did explain to one person that we could not have our young staff or any staff in the road to inspect boats, which was not what was slowing things down. What was slowing things down is that the boats are backing down a ramp, and most of these people do that once or twice a year, and that was what was taking time, not our inspections. The kids were great, and I mean, I think it went really well overall.
Anybody else have questions for Lisa or from opening? It was good weather at least, huh?
It was good weather, I got a sunburn.
So, Lisa, you had sent an email about a neighbor complaining of rodents in our dumpster.
Yeah,
What's the frequency of our dumpster being?
Our dumpster was dumped today.
so every week.
Every week.
It
So-
will be every week. We are now back on the schedule. Basically, it was flipped over most of the winter, so there was nothing in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I go up there
Yeah.
during this time until the park is open. I'm on the call list that the guy calls me basically of this, hey, I'm leaving my stop before, I'm on my way to Chase. I go over and meet him, unlock the park, let them into the park.
Yeah.
And I have honestly, in 3 or 4 years, never seen a mouse
So-
at all.
So we do put mouse traps in the gatehouse and in places over winter. So we had no issues over winter. The neighbor complained, and he's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person, by the way, like, he was very helpful to us. But he is saying that it's the dumpster attracting rats, but the dumpster was emptied within 3 days, and it was that first weekend where mostly it was boats. But also, the neighbor just got chickens. So I think it's the chickens that are attracting the rats, that's what I think it is. And as somebody who has grain in my garage, I have rats.
So just to clarify.
I don't think it was our
The
dumpster.
dumpster is on a weekly empty or weekly empty? Okay.
And it was only in there for 3 days before being, like.
And is the neighbor, should somebody, like,
I've already responded.
you have, so is the neighbor,
He
comfortable right now?
He didn't respond back. I just said, we haven't seen them, and the dumpster's emptied, but I felt that I needed to bring it up.
okay.
So we'll keep an eye on it.
All right.
But so far, nobody has seen any rats
So
at
just
all.
let us know if you think the neighbor needs somebody else too to reach out to
Yeah.
them. All right. And then I think did everybody get a copy of the budgets for the lake? Just a couple things that I noted. And I was wondering, Matt and Shelby, would it be helpful if we sent last year's data so you can, so what I noticed was that volume-wise, as compared to last year, in the first 2 weeks, we took in a little over 300 different various tags, and we were right at 300 this year. So while the first week seemed very slow as compared to last year, the second week was way busier than it was last year. So volume-wise, we seem to be right where we were last year. Budget-wise, we are after 3 weeks as compared to last year, and last year we ran over budget, so this year we have to obviously be very careful. We were at 227.25 after 3 weeks of payroll. Last year we were at 259.75, so we're running slightly under as compared to last year. But I think what I wanna do is make sure at each one of these meetings, we're looking at the prior month and that we're not running over. And just Lisa confirming that
Yeah.
overtime
Yeah.
is being run through you and
Yep.
approved and,
So we're gonna try to not have any overtime.
okay.
But we're doing our best right now with the schedule. We've also tightened a little bit
Okay.
on the schedule, so.
And I know the first few weeks you have people training and stuff,
Yes.
so, but at least the good news is we're tracking a little bit less than last year, so.
I did have a question about the scheduling, and this was just a personal observation. When we were at Cub Camp over, Saturday when we arrived, there were 4 employees at the lake. 3 of them were in the attendant shack. One of them was, I will assume, and assuming is not always the best thing, but on break. There was very low activity when we showed up, starting about 4 o'clock. And there was 0 activity other than us until close. It was just a personal observation that there were 4 people working, and it seemed.
So were they actually working, or was somebody just hanging around waiting for a ride home? Because that happens. quite a bit.
I did not ask that,
Okay, I'll
but
check.
it was, I again, assume that for 4 hours, if you're at the park, hopefully you're working and not just hanging out waiting for a ride.
Well, yeah, so sometimes we have extra people, were they all employees, were they all wearing Chase Park? Were they wearing Chase Park shirts that said staff on them?
They were all wearing Chase Park shirts, yes.
We did have somebody who was
There's 2
supposed to be.
females and 2 males.
There was somebody who was supposed to be cut Saturday evening, so let me just double check on that, because I remember the text messages going through, because it was slow. So somebody was supposed to be cut. So I'm checking on it, thank you for letting me know.
But it's just something, just an
And
observation.
we don't want people sitting in the gatehouse.
Of course.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
So, the more, and I've said this for years, the more of us who are stopping in and checking on that and reporting back, the better off we are.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be explained now. Is there, there is, what's the policy for establishing how many people you have on shift at
So-
any given time? Is there an actual policy?
So it depends on the supervisor level who's there. So sometimes Kristen's completely by herself. Sometimes it's Kristen with another supervisor, with an assistant supervisor, and sometimes, it could be a couple of assistant supervisors and somebody else. So we don't like to have more than 3 people on. But if it's really busy, we will, and we've cut like Sunday, we cut completely the lake staff. So we try to keep it as minimal as we can.
Okay, I'm just curious, that's all. That's
Yeah,
curiosity.
no, it's perfectly, yeah.
Okay.
We should be watching that budget. for
Okay.
sure.
And I think that's one of the things that those are good questions, because those are the kinds of questions we were asking last year. In particularly overtime and how many people were on a given
Yeah.
day, and when some of those people are doing overtime, so, I do think we wanna watch it closely, and
Yeah.
I will be asking Beth, Beth is really good about sending us, prior to this meeting, those documents. I did want to point out that under line item 611, which is Parks and Rec supplies,
Oh, you know what I bet happened? I'm
we
sorry.
spent money, it appears like we bought the shirts probably for the
Yeah.
employees, and all the supplies for the opening, I'm assuming it's things like toilet paper, paper towels,
Yeah.
whatever you buy. But so we've already exceeded that line item. If you look at 611, we've spent 1511.
So the line item for paper towels and stuff. No.
So if you look at
Yep,
611,
611, yep. Park and Rec supplies.
year-to-date, we were budgeted 13, we've spent 1411. We're over budget by $111. And if you look, and actually, probably one hasn't caught up with the other,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's even a little bit higher than that. So I think couple things that struck me when I looked at this, I know when we did budgeting last year, we didn't, a lot of times we replicate what we had the year before, but really talking about if we're gonna buy shirts for everybody, did the cost of those go up? How many we're gonna have?
We only bought one shirt for each employee this year.
So I think the bottom line is, I don't know, like supplies where you need to be buying more during the year.
Yeah.
So we're already over budget
Yeah.
there, so we're gonna have to think about how we manage that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to offset it with another line item.
Because that's paper towels and toilet paper and that kind of stuff.
So Brown Graphics, I'm assuming we
There's
had,
like $1,000 on there.
Yeah, we
Yep,
had
that's for
shirts.
stickers.
those are the stickers?
It's $1,000 for car stickers.
So the stickers, yep, so the stickers are, very, very expensive, which is why, if you, I don't know, last year or the year before, I asked for, that could we charge just for, even though people get in for free, for like we've got some, seniors that get in for free or get a pass for free, could they pay a couple dollars just for the sticker? Because we need to recoup those costs. The stickers are extremely expensive.
Are there other,
Didn't we have Beth do a quote for using admin services from the state for the
I
stickers?
think we did, and I think it was more, or the stickers will, and unfortunately, the last ones, I'll talk about that after, because I'm not, but, we've had issues with the ones that will peel off. And then they just put them on another one. So the staff are also checking now license plates and sticker numbers to double check that they match, because people are
Can't get the
taking them
sticker
off.
off of my windshield.
so here's what I mean, obviously we purchased them and there's nothing we can do, but what I will do, so I'll take responsibility for, speaking with Beth to see, what was the admin
It's
services?
admin services.
Okay.
That's where they get,
Yeah.
Like the transfer station and?
no, they ordered those from Amazon, but admin services provides, printing for municipalities, cause it's a state department.
So let's do, I'll talk to Beth to see if we can do some research so that next year we don't
And we could
spend that
change,
kind of money.
we could change the size of them too, because sometimes the size makes a difference because of how they have to be cut. But the issue is that they're sticky on that side with the printing that's showing, and that's the problem that,
Well, there's actually two different types of stickers that we need.
oh yeah,
Because
one on the outside.
The boats have an adhesive on the back and the sticker sticks out, whereas the cars, it's sticky on the front
Face.
side that gets stuck up into the windshield. So it's one of those things that we can't use the same sticker for both, we have to use two different stickers, unless we're gonna end up adhering it to somebody's front license plate, which I don't think people would,
Oh, you can't do
No,
that,
we
it's
can't do
illegal.
that.
people would like you to put it on their front, well, not on their license plate, but on their front wing,
Yeah.
on their front bumper. I don't think people would like you to put it on their thing, so you'd have to leave it on the inside windshield.
I have, I'm sorry.
Where
Finish.
boats, you put it on right where all the lettering is, and
What was our overage last year on those stickers? Were we over or under on what we needed for those stickers last year?
So we have started, reusing them.
Okay,
So, I had asked them not to have the date on them one year.
Sure.
We did some plain ones so that we could then sub those in. But it's tricky because of the colors, so, because we're
Yeah.
watching last year's color and the next year, so it's very tricky.
yeah, well, that's what I
So,
was getting to.
Yeah, we're trying not to waste them.
But-
Okay.
So $1,000 got us how many stickers?
I'd have to double check then.
Yeah, but yeah. I'd like to see
That's
that.
all right, if you could email us, maybe, you don't have to do that tonight, but it would, I think we're kind of where, I think Matt's going with this is, if we're using, I'm making this up, but if we're using 500 and we're buying 1,000,
Yeah,
even if we have to save them for 2 years or whatever, they could be.
Unless
reused. Yeah.
they're half as expensive to
Right.
buy the.
Right.
yeah, that's the other problem.
So,
Yeah.
please, I'd like everybody to know that I have worried about the cost of the stickers, and I have price shopped them in the past. I did not bother this year because I've found that was our best go-to, but.
All right, so we'll just do a little bit of research so we're prepared for the budget season. So I'll talk to Beth about getting us another quote. But I just do want to point out, and maybe Lisa, you can work with Kristen. So we're over on this budget, and if we continue to buy supplies, we're gonna go over it, so we're gonna have to watch it on other line items. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that
Well,
when
and
we get to
we,
the budget.
last year, decided no paper towels in the bathroom, so I'll double check on that.
Yeah, so you know,
Because we were having problems where people were actually flushing the paper towels, and they're flushing,
Yeah.
diapers
Yeah.
down the drain, where every bathroom has 2 trash cans in there, so it's not like there's no trash cans that
So
are
like,
like.
yep, now you're done, no paper towels.
so I think maybe you touching base, what are we buying for supplies?
Yep, we'll
I know
double check.
last year, there was purchasing of paints and rakes and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying we didn't need them, but
So the tools, when they get purchased, that's me. And I only buy what we need. We haven't bought anything to replace anything for this year. But, I think I did have to buy rakes last year. But the paint was, some of that was, yeah.
so if you would just sort of touch
Yeah.
base with Kristen.
Yeah,
and-
I will.
And I think that, for next year for the budget, that we need to look at saying either having a separate line item for startup for like this, for the stickers, or we increase that budget line to accommodate saying, hey, look, we know that to start the season, we're gonna need $1,500.
Okay.
I would almost
Out the
say it'd be a
gate.
good idea to separate the stickers into its own line item.
Or
It's
put,
all just to have eyes on, it's not, I don't think anybody's questioning anything.
or we put it under, or we increase our printing line,
Yeah,
and, because we already have a line, and we only have $50 in
Yeah.
the printing line, we just put it over underneath the printing line and just say, hey.
Yeah, printing / stickers.
that's
So-
not a bad idea.
That's kind of why this year I asked Beth if she would send the detail
Yeah.
report, because we only ever got the summary. At least the detail, we know what things are being spent on, even if we end up not breaking them out, but I could ask Beth about doing that.
I have a question about the boat decals. Why does it have to go on the boat? Why does it have to go on the hull? Why can't it go on the window?
Not all boats have a window,
Not all boats have windows.
so, but we could.
And like a jet ski, they usually don't have it on the jet ski, that's why it's always been on that's how we've always, I hate to say it, that's how we've always done it, is put it right where the registration numbers are, just because that's,
That's how it was when I was doing it.
I think that's kind of mandatory, is everything on a boat pretty much has to go on the hull, so I think that's the line of logic with that.
All right, just to keep us moving, we're gonna go over more budget review in a minute. And I just wanna clarify, so John Stark graduation this Saturday, a lot of our employees, particularly supervisors, are graduating. I think you have a graduate, so Kristen did we manage to get
Yeah,
coverage?
Kristen's got it covered.
And is that gonna work for Greg?
She said it was gonna work, so, unless somebody calls out. If somebody calls out, there's nothing we can do. It'll be just like,
Okay.
anywhere
All right.
else.
All right, just wanted to make sure you were okay with that. So any other questions about Chase Park or the budget? Everybody good on that? Okay, budget review, again, just a couple quick things. I do wanna, for next month's meeting, see if we can get a copy of what's in the revolving account. Because it would be good to know what we have from our revenue from last year. I think as we start to approve things like the, maybe repairs to the skateboard park or bigger items, the revolving account is there also for us to be able to use. And I think we ended up spending money out of it last year for gate repairs, but otherwise didn't spend any money. So I'm gonna guess there's somewhere between $14,000 and $15,000 that we're starting this year out with, and now we're making revenue at Chase Park, it will be going into that revolving fund. So I'm gonna make sure we all have a copy of what the ongoing balance is. So as we make motions and decisions about spending money, that's an option, that's why we created that fund. So, because I did notice that, there are a couple of line items that were already over budget, so we're kinda almost halfway through the year, that we just have to really watch this closely so we don't get to a point at the end of the year where we can't spend any money if we need to. So is everybody good with the documents that we're getting? You getting enough
Yes.
information?
Thank you.
Okay.
Much better.
All right.
I'm sorry, I wanna step back real quick just to Matt's question about, cause I messaged Kristen about it, asking. We had an employee who was off at 6, but then waited for her ride. And then, another employee who was off at 6 and was in the gatehouse to count money, because at the end of shifts, we count money. So we're only 2 people supposed to be there from, 6 to close, from 6 to 8.
Okay.
So there should have, but I don't know what time my daughter got home, so. But the time card should show.
Sure, no, absolutely. Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Oh, and we did all get that one message from Kristen in regards to
Oh,
the
yeah.
gentleman that has the pontoon boats
Thank
and the
you.
jet skis. that
She
he-
doesn't have Matt's, so he didn't get it. So can I read it?
Yes,
please?
go ahead.
All right, so there's an issue.
Well, not an issue, it's a request.
It's a request from a company who is making money by renting boats, and they are requesting, and jet skis, they are requesting that, we have some sort of, some sort of sticker that we can give to them for a season's pass. Last year, this came up, and we said, no, if somebody in town rents it, then they're paying the fee to get in, where we can't put a sticker on something that doesn't belong to somebody, so they're paying the regular fee. If somebody from out of town rents it, they're paying the out-of-town fee. We don't put stickers on out of town, and that's the way we did it. So, she says the company's back and looking for a season pass at a higher rate as non-residents. They're open to an idea of paying more, but would like a pass to enter with any renters, and that they may have this summer. So, for those of you who are new, we have a major issue, with renters trying to do this, not just this company, but also people who own multiple rental places will rent out, or, we have a huge Airbnb, population on the lake. Lots of people from out of state own those, own cabins and buildings, and there's actually a campsite that's, up there that, has a lot of people that come in and they just camp, and they will look for those types of things, those discounts from the town.
Yeah.
So, in the past, we've said no.
So just for clarification, so I understand, I decide for Saturday I wanna rent a boat from this company. The company meets me up there with the boat. I as a resident, so what do they want? I as a resident didn't need to buy a boat pass.
You have to pay for your day pass to go in.
Can I pay if I wanted to for a seasonal pass?
No, because you don't own the boat.
Okay, so right now it is a day pass to put
Yep.
the boat in the water
Yes.
at a resident rate or a non-resident rate, depending who you are.
Yeah, so it'll cost you $30 to put the boat in the water for the day.
For,
They're
as a
looking,
resident.
sorry.
I'm sorry,
As a resident.
as a resident.
Go ahead.
And well, I mean, usually it's a week rental, so, I mean, obviously you most like.
But I don't think so, they were doing daily ones.
Yeah, they are doing, they.
But if they're putting it on if they put it on for a week, they're putting it in the water once, it's in the water for the week.
Right. I
And
mean,
then
they're
they
not,
come and get
I mean, they're, yeah, the rental depends on how long it rents for, it goes in and then they come back and they take it out. So the person who's renting it is not putting it in and out.
Sometimes they are.
The person who's
Yeah.
putting it in and out is generally the company who owns it, they're dropping them off
Yeah.
and they come back and pick them up
It's-
from the dock.
It's a very sticky situation, because then you get people that are like, well, I'm just trying, it's mine, I bought it, but it's registered to my brother in another
State.
town or state.
So the rental company would like, so I'm gonna use the $30 a day. So what does a rental company want?
They
Not
want,
to have to pay the $30?
they wanna be able to pay for some sort of pass for their boat that they're gonna rent out for however many days for the season. So say it's a jet ski, they're gonna rent it to, 15 or 20 different people for the season who are gonna take it out for a day run or for a week or whatever. And they wanna pay a discounted price to put it on there, but number one, I don't know if the rental company is within where or not, and I don't think it matters, because if we open this can of worms, it's gonna be the same thing for, say, who's the
Campgrounds.
the campgrounds, yeah, the campgrounds, the people who rent out, they're renting out places for $4,000, $5,000 for the week, they wanna be able to put their boats in for free or for a discount. It's a huge can of worms, in my opinion.
So currently, we're doing it basically sticker to the person.
No.
and they wanna have it sticker to the boat.
We do sticker to the boat for a boat owner, who lives in Ware, and it's that, but this is a rental company
Yeah.
that wants to, yeah.
So if
So
I,
they're looking to have it so that that boat, regardless of who's operating it, because it's their boat, can be in and out as many times as they need without having to pay, well, without the renter having to pay at every single drop.
Yeah.
Is what they're trying to avoid.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
same thing happens with Lakeshore Resort, with the Lost Boys Campground people, with, I mean, you name it, it happens.
so I'm a renter at the Lake Shore condo place. I'm a renter for 2 weeks. I bring my boat with me. I'm out of town. I go and I get a sticker for,
Nope, you don't get a sticker. You put your boat in for $50 and you go park it at their dock, and it stays there for
so
2
they don't give
weeks.
me a sticker. I just pay the $50. And then I take it out in 2 weeks. If I come back a month later, I pay another $50. So there's no sticker that ever goes on the boat. They're
That's
just
right.
paying it. And as long as they don't take it out of the water, they don't pay it again.
Yep.
So it's the in and out.
Yep.
So I'm renting for one day, I put it in, I take it out, $30 a day.
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's, I understand their point of view. I understand our point of view. No pun intended, it is a sticky situation.
Also, I'm just gonna, sorry, we've got young people who are trying to do this, part-time employees in a seasonal job, trying to keep all of this organized. And quite frankly, this puts them in one more situation that they have to deal with, and it's not easy. There's a lot of, I was flipped off and sworn at, just directing traffic and being a smiley, happy person on that first opening day. So, and that was just really just trying to help people. So
I,
I think that we have to be cautious of that too.
part of me feels like it's hard, so now we know the facts, to make a quick decision. I know they're probably looking for a decision, but they may have to wait.
And they haven't come before the board
They have to
either.
wait.
They're talking to Kristen.
It's just for me to make a decision tonight without really thinking it through.
I think they would, number one, have to come to the board.
I
Number
would
two,
like-
we would have to talk to select board about it.
I would think that they would have to come to the board, and I wanna see their numbers, I wanna see how many boats to Ware residents and non-residents they put in Lake Horse last year.
I think the only response we can do is we're not making an immediate decision, and if they are serious, they can come bring us numbers, and then maybe we can seriously look at it.
Yeah.
But it's nothing that requires an immediate decision. at all.
Yeah, and we even so much as gotten an email from them. They've only talked to Kristen about trying to get this.
There is also to mitigate the, potential for issues with the gate attendants is we can record the bow numbers of the vessels that they would be putting in the lake. Again, so they pull up, they have a jet ski NH 7613 BC, it's here, they've paid for it, it's good to go. You know, so there's a way to mitigate that conflict at the gate, but again, we need to know how many vessels they're putting in, how many
Each
residents,
type.
and how many non-residents. And I think even if we get that information, I wouldn't be comfortable making a decision about it now for this season, only because it's gonna have to go to the board and to make a change to the fee schedule,
Yeah,
you know.
good point.
There might be also be some involvement with the state with that as well. What rules are there at the state level because of its state?
And I also think we
State
have to,
ramps.
as we're, I think that's a great idea, and I think we have to think about what happens if the second company comes along and a third company, and
What are your concerns about the state level map?
I just don't know I don't know what is there. I mean, there are things at the state level that we have to be concerned about with it being a ramp access, and I don't know if there is anything that applies to this situation as to whether or not they need to be inspected at every drop and pull. or-
All boats,
They are.
all
Is
boats
there-
are inspected.
Yeah, so
every
I'm
drop.
just saying, like.
'Cause of the
there-
milfoil.
Is there stuff at a higher level that we need to be aware of while
I
we're
don't,
This
don't-
is all research to me. I
Yeah.
don't think any of this is.
No,
decision
and
at
I'm
this
just
point.
bringing it up because she brought it up, but quite
So-
frankly, I think it's a moot point unless they show up here.
So I think to Pam's point, and it's a good one, could you pass along to Kristen that if the company approaches her again,
Yeah.
they should be given the opportunity, let them know, we meet once a month, second Tuesday of the month. They're welcome to come here. She can feel free to give them my contact information so I can get them on the agenda if they want to meet with us. And we could reach out to them ahead of time and tell them the exact things that we would want to hear from them before they came here.
Yeah.
And that way, at least she has a way to get them,
Yeah.
not bugging her.
I like it.
And to address those concerns for the state level, Matt, if I can just take a little bit of leeway, it's probably the same as like when you rent a car.
Yeah.
So the person goes in, the company has the vehicle, they have all the insurance, they do whatever, liability waivers, all that stuff. So the boating company would have that same standard.
That's what I figured.
So that's their state level. I can take my boat to Horace, I can take my boat to Sunapee. Each lake has its own thing. Sunapee
Yeah.
has a lake host, they inspect my boat. We have our gate attendants, they inspect my boat, make sure I'm not bringing any weeds in.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I was
if the
alluding to.
company is advertising that they're registered with the Secretary of State, they are a legitimate concern. They're already following the state guidelines in regards to boats. It's not any different than if, you know, we were to take our boat in and put it in the lake.
Yeah.
Great.
And I assume that it's the same thing, they've got a valid registration on it and everything else like that, so.
They'd have to. They can't put it in the lake without it.
All right, so we won't discuss it again unless they come here and ask to
Yeah.
present to us. But thank you for raising the issue. All right, the next item is Bolton Playground.
Yes.
So just to go over, you know, I did put slide damage, next steps to ensure safety. I'm not sure if folks saw that there was some chatter on the Ware Facebook page regarding folks being disappointed that we were talking about maybe taking the slide down and them wanting to do a fundraising effort.
Yes.
I think I made a comment and said, you're welcome to come to our June meeting.
Yeah.
Therefore, I did reach out to 2 slide companies in case somebody did come here today for the opportunity to do some fundraising. The original company, Burke. Pam, do you have a thing from,
I have the Bibles from Janine that I
Okay.
will bring to the next meeting, or I can make arrangements to drop them off to you. You can go
Okay.
through them if you want.
because I know she had a Burke.
Yeah, she
Um,
did.
So I did find out that we have a local rep from Burke who is in Massachusetts. I've reached out to him twice using our group email so you could all see. I haven't heard back from him, although I did talk to him on the phone. He was on vacation. That was 2 weeks ago. I did go back and pulled from the minutes just to replace the middle tube. Not the upper tube that's broken now, but the middle tube. It was just shy of $1,500 for the tube and $450 shipping to have it shipped from Wisconsin, which is where the manufacturer is.
Was that per tube section or for
Yes.
both tubes?
That was, that was one tube.
Okay.
That was the center section of the
Center
tube, because we've
section.
already done the bottom
We had already done the
section.
bottom section. So one of the things that we had talked about at that point was if we keep replacing the tubes at $1,500 a pop, you know, it gets expensive. At the time, we didn't know the upper part of the slide was broken. So what I was hoping that Burke would quote us for a whole new slide. And I reached out to Util Play, because they had come out here last year and did a walkthrough for us. If you remember, we reached out to them to look for a local playground rep. He did a walkthrough of Bolton, gave us recommendations, including quotes on the sandbox repair, to do it just by the ties from him. get the sand locally or do it all, so we do have those too. You know, I didn't get a chance to check my email, but he sent us a quote for a whole new slide. But in researching it, I was seeing slides that were gonna be between $7,000 and $10,000 for a slide replacement.
The last time I researched it for that same slide, it was 15.
Yes, so, I mean, if there may be slightly smaller ones, not full tubes. I mean, that's the question really, I think, at hand with that slide, is do we retire it completely? Or do we look to replace it with the same thing, something different, something a little smaller?
I think our hope was
Now-
that the community would come out
Right.
and maybe somebody could build one, because that could be.
So I just want to, for the sake of the new members, when the playground company came out last time, he did look at the entire playground and said, today, playgrounds are not being manufactured so spread out. Therefore, you reduce the cost of your wood chips. And so he did talk about opportunities to, as things broke, do you remove them? Do you replace them and put them in a different location to begin to shrink your footprint a little bit? He also talked about that we should be looking at all of the pieces of equipment. How many slides do you want in a playground in of varying sizes? So we have already multiple slides there, but this is the only real tall one that's a tube slide. And at what cost do we think that, again, thinking of all the other repairs that we might have, what is the best action to take with the slide if the public doesn't come forward to do some fundraising to take half or more of our budget to replace one slide? It's a big chunk of money. So I guess I'm looking for thoughts from the commission members.
So, the Bolton Playground is a multi-issue, multi-step problem. Problem number one is the slide is not safe
Right.
at all. I've made multiple efforts to keep people from using it, including caution tape. I went out there with scrap wood and screws and put a block at the bottom of the stairs. That was removed and tossed off in the woods. I went back and put a block with scrap wood at the top, at the tube itself. That was also
Did you
removed.
screw that in?
I blocked it. I used some scrap plywood and then some 2x4s and screwed around the bars instead of through the bar,
Yeah.
because I didn't want
Yeah,
to
so
damage
that-
anything.
I'm
It
not
still
surprised
just-
that things are removed.
I mean, it's scrap, so
But-
they just tear it apart, I wasn't trying to make anything
Too bad.
permanent. There's no way to block the bottom, and that seems to be the most common way to go up, use the slide, apparently now, is to climb it from the bottom. But it's a hazard.
So I think if it's deemed unsafe, our first step is looking at how do we take it apart and remove it. And as we have done in the past, for a period of time, we can store. I mean, the end component's brand new. And I think what we could do publicly in this meeting today is to state that, if there are community groups that would like to fundraise for us, we'd love to have them come here and talk to us. But in the meantime, while we're making a decision, what is the best cost-effective way to replace the slide, maybe we do need to take it down.
So
For
in that
safety.
regard, yeah, and, again, I'd like to address it in the two-step process. There's resolving the safety issue, does it create a new safety issue, which is part of the problem, and then focus on what do we do by replacement. So,
Cemented in.
well, yeah, that's the problem. So the quick fix is remove the plastic, right? Because the steps are in wonderful shape. The metal is great. It is cement posted in. So the quick fix is remove the tube, right?
But then you have a fit.
Then you have
They go to
stairs.
nowhere, the stairs that go to
Exactly.
nowhere, and you have somebody deciding to do high on evil Knievel.
Exactly, and that was my concern, because obviously my immediate response was, well, we just go take down the tube. Now we just have stairs to heaven. which is not good for anybody. And again, we can go back and we can build stuff at the top and the bottom, and people are still gonna find a way to climb over it. It's just not,
Yeah.
So are the stairs themselves cemented in the ground?
they are cement posts.
Is there any way to take I'd have to go back and look at the slide, if there's a way to take, if there's a way to take the steps themselves off?
No, it's
No.
all
Is there
welded.
something that we can, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about foam insulation. Is there something, some way for us to block the entire slide with something so that it
I mean,
cannot?
if you wanna get that involved, it could be just as simple as taking a tarp and tying a tarp around it. Or you can get as involved as building a box around it. I mean, that's up to us to how far.
No, but I
we wanna
mean,
get
is there a
involved.
way to fill that slide with something so that nobody's?
Oh, fill the slide itself?
That's what, you know, like foam insulation,
Yeah.
you spray it in, you spray stuff in and it
27
expands.
cans of grape
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, won't that damage the slide material?
It potentially could, I don't know how that
Isn't the
plastic
material
would
already
react.
damaged?
No, the bottom.
Oh, the
The
bottom.
bottom is brand.
Not all the pieces are damaged.
So just we could just do the parts that are the top two.
I mean, we could get stupid and I could run rods through the damaged top piece. The problem is the bottom is new, and that's the hardest part to try and block off, is
It doesn't matter if people climb on the bottom part.
they're gonna climb up to the top is what my worry is. You know what I'm saying? They're using it backwards.
Yeah.
So even if we block the top, people are still climbing up and putting the stress on the
Well-
plastic risers, so.
Well, the other thing we should probably do is just use their own risk, damage at the top, and
No, I don't think we should have it. It should not be used at all.
or we just,
If we say use at own risk, it's like it's open. I don't know. I think we're gonna need to,
So,
Table it.
let's do this for the sake of the time. I'll go down and take some pictures too, so we can all visually, and I'll send some pictures out, and just really look at what our options are in being able to get it down, or having to cover it, which I think is just, people are gonna be ripping it off. So, if we, I do have, because I'm not connected to the internet, I do have a quote from Uniplay. Utiplay. I'll get that out to everybody too, but I think the broader question I'd like everybody to think about for the next meeting is, do we replace this slide, or is everybody familiar with the other components that we have at Bolton Field? How many slides do we need? What size slides do we need? Because whatever we do becomes a future maintenance cost.
The general consensus I've gotten from, and mainly it's scouts, and they've talked to their, baseball teams and stuff like that, is that everybody likes that there's a slide there.
Yeah.
And that preferably the base be reused with another slide.
Okay.
That's the cheapest, easiest way to go about it, is if
The
we,
the
even if it's an
stairs.
open, like if we can leave the stairs, put another kind of slide on there, open face, whatever, I vote for polished aluminum so they can get the sunburn.
well,
So I
I would
will,
say polished aluminum just
I
for the
agree.
simple fact that it's not gonna deteriorate over time,
And
and
it's something we
it's,
can DIY.
it's,
so
yes.
why don't I do this? The company that has been responding has already said to me, they can't do replacement parts for it, so it would be a complete replacement if we went with them. I will call the gentleman from Burke again. I've made 2 attempts to email him with no response. If we were gonna get any type of reusable components, then we might have to stick with Burke.
Yeah.
So I will try to see if Burke can, if we salvage the stairs, is there a different type of slide, less expensive, that we could put on that same
Oh,
structure?
yeah, no, we can bolt whatever we want
Yeah.
to those stairs. That's
So-
that's not the hard part.
So I think if we're gonna stick with the stairs in the current frame, then we're gonna have to work with Burke, because the other company has already told me it's gonna have to be a complete replacement.
I will also look into some other options that are potentially much cheaper and DIY, because I think that we probably have the support in the town to get some guys together, some people, I should say, to DIY a safe slide. to both of those stairs.
Yeah, and I think that the bottom line for me is we have to assure safety. And I think sometimes that's why we go through manufacturers who do child playgrounds, because we want to be sure. Not to mention, the Burke equipment did come with a very lengthy warranty. It's just unfortunate that I think it was 10 years. I mean, it was not just a year or two. It's just that we've exceeded that. That playground is older than I think most of us think that it
Yeah, it's-
is.
I was digging back in agendas and it's quite old.
Yeah, so I think there's a broader picture here too of what, as we look at the future of things breaking and repairing them, what is our vision for Bolton Playground in terms of size and number of pieces of equipment? I think also at the time that Bolton was built, the middle school did not have the playground that they have that's available to families to use in the summertime. So I think those would all be factors that would go into planning. And then looking for community members to come forward and, invite them to come to our July meeting if they have ideas and thoughts. And maybe it is just putting another post out on Facebook that, we're gonna be making some decisions, and if they have comments and thoughts, we'll do that.
In the meantime, I will make another effort to secure at least the top of the slide to try and prevent people from sliding down it. And I will put up
Appreciate you
a
doing that.
wood sign painted that says "Do not use."
be removed, just so you know.
No, I'm just.
Also,
I'm not to use lag bolts.
can we also get the dimensions, so we can start doing some also research on how big that
Yes,
slide
I will
is?
pull dimensions on all that.
Okay.
So just to recap on this, I will call Burke again, to see if we can get some more information. I will forward the existing quote that I have, that we could look at a complete replacement. And Matt's going to, work at trying another attempt to secure the slide from being used and providing us with dimensions.
Correct.
So the sandbox, we had already agreed last year that the sandbox needs to be, the current plastic ties need to be removed, and we should really be replacing those and shoring it back up. We did get a quote from the playground company. They're, I call them ties, you might call them something else, but the edging that goes around the playground, the quote was for something of similar material. I know, Matt, you talked about pressure-treated wood, and again, I want to understand from playground standards, I know we have to adhere to wood chips at a certain standard. Do we have to be careful, especially wood that's gonna deteriorate in slivers and things like that? So, we talked about this last year, but we never moved forward with it.
Can I just go back for a second to
Sure.
the slide? To Matt proposing that, like a DIY, is there an entity that would inspect and verify that? Like, if that were to,
So when
because I understand the safety
Right. So when
issue,
we
but if.
had the Eagle Scout do the piece of equipment on the skateboard park, we had to get our risk management company to come out and
Okay.
inspect it and sign off on it before we could allow it to be released for use.
Okay.
So I would assume that at the very least, we would have to do the same thing, that it would have to be inspected by the company for liability for the town.
Okay.
That's what we did on the skateboard
So then
park.
it would maybe be an option.
Right,
We just would have to make sure.
That it would pass
would pass
inspection.
inspection. Okay.
And when they come out, if there's something that needs to be changed, they just let you know.
they tell you what has to
And
be
then
changed.
it's, yeah.
So there was a couple corrections that needed to be made on the skateboard park before we could officially allow it to be opened. So yes, I think we have an entity. we can
Because
work
I think I would just want to exhaust all
Yeah.
of the options
Yep.
so that we can actually get something up at an affordable price. Okay.
with. Good point. So we have a standing quote. Do you have additional quotes, Matt?
I have offers for quotes. I have two individuals who said they're willing to come out and take a look at it. They also proposed wood as a solution. They're both more contractors than playground equipment. It's just a matter of coordinating schedules to get out there to take a look at it. But two individuals are at least interested in doing a quote.
So, typically when we're spending money at this level, we generally try to get 3 quotes.
Okay.
So we already have 1 quote on the table. If you could get them, 1 or 2 of them, having 3 quotes is really what would be nice. And then we could also look at, are they talking about just the building or also doing the sand? Or would we be looking to get the sand if
They
we
would
need
con-
replacement sand? I don't think we need a lot of replacement
Yeah,
sand.
no,
but-
so we only spoke of it as in a general scope.
Okay,
Playground sandbox needs to be
Okay.
rebuilt. They have, excuse me, general idea what's going on.
Okay.
I can ask them for how they wanna break it down.
okay. So if you could do that for our next meeting, that would be great. And if it came to having to get more sand, we might even be able to approach some of the local
Yeah.
folks here for donations or whatever of sand. Again, both this and the slide, if it was in reasonable amounts of money, are perfect examples of where we would ask the board to take money from our revolving account to be able to do this. We have been talking about wood chip replacement for years.
Yep.
I think that, for me right now, we just don't have an updated quote.
We're waiting on one,
I
so,
have 3 numbers,
yeah,
starting numbers.
Okay,
good.
I have 3 companies I talked to. They will do, one company said they will do $27 a yard. They are local, $150 delivery fee, single delivery fee, not by truck.
And they're playground grade?
Playground grade,
Okay.
I made that very specific, they were clear. They said they could potentially play with that, seeing it was coming from the town. This was just a generalized idea. They would only need about a week or 2 heads up if we decide to pull the trigger. They will only dump, they will not spread.
That's a lot,
That's
yeah.
both of these companies. The other company was about $37 a yard,
Do we know how
roughly
many
the same
yards we
idea.
need?
I need to walk it.
Last time we
We
did
need a
this,
lot.
it was a 18-wheeler full or something. It was a lot of yards. I don't know how many yards fit in that. And so I think we were looking at between $2,000 and $3,000 last time. Does that sound right,
Well,
Pam?
to give you an idea, the middle school playground, everybody who knows that one, they dumped an 18-wheeler on that.
They got a couple inches.
So, I mean, that's just to give you an idea how big they did it. I mean, I watched the 18-wheeler pull up and dump the load, so,
If we're gonna do this.
I mean, you're probably looking, unfortunately, with Bolton, and if we're doing the same kind of thicknesses at, is the Wood Middle School, you're probably looking at 2.
It's not the matter of the thickness because there's a lot of wood chips there. Because when we backed up the town truck, were you there that day?
Yeah, it could-
Yeah, we almost got stuck. The problem is that it's getting, the posts are supposed to be buried.
The posts are
So
rising.
it's not a matter of, oh, we have to put 2 inches, it's a matter of we gotta put a lot, in order to get those posts where they're supposed to be.
And that was kind of where the playground architect who walked the playground was sort of saying, your maintenance cost, maybe 20 years ago weren't this high, but you've got a very spread out playground with a lot of wood chip costs. And as you look at replacing equipment, consolidating a little more, and if, you know, and
Or even
I've
building like little containers.
like I
around it.
happen to, Hopkinton has a relatively new playground that they've built. It's not very spread out. It has a number of features in it, but it's not very spread out. And I think that's what you're seeing is good features, fun features, but not oversized features. And I think that while we hate to take anything away, I think we have to make some serious decisions because we're potentially looking at between a slide, sandbox, wood chips, you know, we could be talking a $15,000 or more investment in one facility, and I'm not saying it's not worth it, but do we look at making sure that the future costs are not higher than they need to be? But the big features at that park, the posts are sticking
Yeah.
out of the ground significantly. So
I did that.
it's really hard to know whether it's gonna be one or two.
So my intent would be that we not try to raise the grade of the entire playground.
Right.
We only need to raise the grade
Right.
under the features.
Right,
And then
But-
everything else can be graded out.
Except that what happens is all those wood chips get moved. So
Yeah.
that's why I was saying we might want to think about putting, barriers around the features and not having wood chips on the whole thing. But, oh,
That's
we're now
an
in the
option.
slide area with, yeah.
And then you have to look at, you have a barrier created and what is it being made out of, and
Yes.
we come back to that route,
yes.
so, yeah.
So to just keep things moving, then, if you could get those, if you could, while you're down there working on the slide, if you could get an estimate of how many yards, that would give us a number to work off of.
Yep.
What I'd like to do is come back to next month's, and if we have to, I know we can't do meetings through emails, but we can share data that we found so that we can be prepared to talk about it. That we come to next week's meeting with a more solid number on the costs of all of these things, and 3 quotes if possible.
Yep.
All right, sounds great. Anything else on the Bolton playground?
There is a ton more graffiti,
There is,
Yes.
where?
underneath, the plastic pieces. I took pictures on my phone, I was down there with the girls.
Plastic pieces of the slide?
Bear with me 1 second. So, on the back side of the little
Oh.
playground area, the other piece on the back side of that playground stand, some more pieces there, and then the stand,
Yeah,
the
that's been on
sign,
there.
that's been there for a while?
Yeah,
Okay,
some of that's been there for a while.
okay. Yeah,
So I'm gonna sort of probably jump ahead a little bit, but to answer that question, to address that graffiti. When I was, when Naomi saw the agenda, she saw the benches at the gazebo on here. And she sent an email letting us all know, I think all of us,
I saw
that
that
the
email.
town,
Tim Burgess, the maintenance.
maintenance, that's it, thank you. The maintenance gentleman is repairing the benches, so I asked her if he is somebody who's available to, if it came out of our budget, to do any type of maintenance work for us. So for example, if we needed painting done because of graffiti, so I'll try to get an answer for her that would allow us to,
Because he only works like 25 hours a week.
Yeah.
So we would probably be at the bottom of his
Limited
list
use,
of,
yeah.
and,
because he does all of the other buildings
yeah.
first.
And if it was that he wasn't available, you know, do we try to secure somebody who can do some maintenance work for us? Because I think in some cases, we're so reliant on the commission members, and, you know, it's great if somebody has wood skills, but we don't all have wood skills. You know, so I think having somebody that could do that, so I'll wait and see what I hear back.
That would be good,
From
because
her.
we need to put the steps on at the gatehouse,
Okay.
at the park need to be.
All right, so we'll put that on the agenda for next week. Real quick on the tennis courts, I just wanted to update, somebody has damaged the gate. They tried to pull it, I'm guessing that it was locked and they didn't wanna call for so that U-hook, it's bent out, now it can be bent back in, but we've bent it in quite a few times. We may have to look at a replacement for that. And somebody yanked on the lock that's on the cabinet that the pickleball club donated to the town. And so that no longer locks because they've broken the plastic loop on the cabinet. So you can put a lock on there, but all you have to do is open the door. I did make a copy of the instructions on how to care for the net that the town bought. It's still in good shape, but it's not being cared for well. And the Ware Pickleball Club has experienced extensive damage of their equipment. So Ware Pickleball Club's going to be shrinking. They're probably gonna be looking at if you want to be part of the pickleball club and you want a code to that equipment, because the club has purchased thousands of dollars worth of equipment that you may have to pay a fee, a minimal fee, because one net is broken, and I think we're gonna have to replace it. So the great news is more people are using those courts. The downside is we're not seeing that people seem to have the care that we would hope to take care of the equipment that's up there. And until we can maybe get some cameras, please, and, if we could ever be allowed to purchase cameras to monitor up there, we're just gonna continue. Earlier in the season, somebody threw a bunch of eggs all over the court. I think they threw them over the fence. So we went up there and there were eggshells everywhere. I did let the police know that, if anybody reported eggs missing from their chicken, whatever, but, so it continues to be a challenge. And then I would just like to bring back up, after presenting more data, does anybody have the desire to revisit the decision about dodgeball, or do we take the risk?
I looked online to see if there were any portable barrier options for dodgeball to then be played like on a grass area. And there are portable Gaga ball pits that aren't outrageous costs that I feel the people interested in playing dodgeball could maybe pool together and
Maybe use like the
And
gazebo area or something?
use the
like that?
gazebo area, so that, and if they wanted to do like 2 separate Gaga pits and then like have some kind of tournament style or, but I feel that would be a better option. That's my thought.
Do we have space at one of our other fields where we might be able to?
Gazebo field right
Anybody
here
would,
would,
yeah, the
Yeah.
gazebo field would be great, but they could, honestly, if you wanted to set up, you could pretty much go anywhere where they could just set up like, okay, well, we happen to be setting up here. They don't have to ask.
well, I think we'd want to be in the same way conscious of not damaging the football field but I think
Yeah.
offering up the gazebo
I think
field.
that's the perfect
It's
space.
good,
a good
you've
area.
got parking right there.
Yep.
It's central to it's close to where the tennis courts are gonna be anyways. You could still use the bathrooms, the porta potties if they needed to that were at the tennis courts.
That's true.
So I guess I would like to propose that we revisit that decision. And that maybe with Shelby's input, that we recommend to them
A different location.
offering up the gazebo field for Friday nights, I think is what they were looking for.
It was 2 times a month,
Your
June,
next one
July,
is scheduled
August.
June 28th.
Yeah, so we're talking maybe a total of 4 more uses before they're done with their proposed season.
Did they even do it yet?
Yes,
Yes,
they have a Facebook
they have a
page.
Facebook page. and they
Where
post on
dodgeball.
there. They post
Did they
on there.
actually have pictures of them up on the court?
Yep. In a video.
The other thing too is I think, not that it matters, but I think there are a number of people who are not Ware residents. I think the invite went out to surrounding communities, the city of Manchester,
We spoke about that, and I think we treated it as
guests of theirs.
like guests of theirs, like we would not go after whack for having out of town. And I'm talking, again, I know the concerns about the surface, and it absolutely was not something that I think came to mind. I think we touched on it, and I think the general agreement between us at the time and them was that they would, we thought it would be okay for these small amount of uses. Again, a lot of information we didn't have.
What we did talk about if they were there and there were people playing tennis, that they would,
Yes, they were,
that the
tennis and pickleball was
had priority.
Yeah.
Well, I think that by offering up the gazebo field in the portable fencing option also gives them more security that when they show up, the courts aren't gonna be in use and they can't, all these people have come and can't play, that we could actually do a facility usage on the gazebo field like we do for
We
other,
can't do one unless they have insurance.
then we could offer it up to them though on Fridays.
It would be the same thing, they can use it. If,
Well, I would like to make a motion that we reconsider the decision and offer up the opportunity for them to use the gazebo field for the dates that they have already scheduled and using a portable option.
Is the gazebo field available on those dates?
that's a very good question, so if it wasn't, then the people who have insurance and have filled out forms would have first. But they usually use that field, there's other sections of the gazebo field there's other sections of
Right,
that
right,
that
right.
are,
Yeah,
that would be, places they could.
Plus, there was no guarantee on a tennis court either.
right, right.
Yeah,
Who would be supplying the fencing
I
material?
they would
They
have to
would.
do that.
In the same way that they were gonna repair the nets if they damaged them or replaced them.
Well, that's, I don't wanna argue in their defense. I'll play the bad guy here. They came to us and asked for permission. We gave them permission. Sorry. I'll just play the bad guy card. They came to us for permission to have access to the facility, and we granted it to them. The whole basis of their use revolves around having the surface and the fences. And again, I'm playing bad guy here, I'm not defending them. Are we talking about revoking their permission to use the tennis courts? I guess, is that?
I'm asking, I guess I'm asking two things. That, one, are we setting a precedent that we're gonna allow the tennis courts to be used for anything other than what they were intended to be used for? And if we do that, then how do we justify that we don't allow golfing on the fields and whatever? And yes, I hate to use the word revoke, but I think if new information has come to light about the amount of money that's been spent, the potential damage that can be done, and the potential to have to close it for good, does any of those things change the decision? If you had had that information and had the opportunity to discuss it before giving them permission, would the decision have been any different?
My decision would have been different if I'd been reminded of that and had time to think about it.
Same here.
Me too.
I wasn't here, so.
I wasn't here either, so, but my decision would have been the suggestion that I'm making tonight.
So I hate to revoke something, but I think we have a responsibility as a commission when we look at what the potential could be to that facility and the cost to the town. And we have an alternative to offer them up.
And we've done this before, where we've thought about something where we've either said no, and then we've had to go back and go, wait a minute, we could have done that. We just had to think about it a little bit more. So we've done this in both ways. We've changed, we do the best that we can in the moment. So I don't think of it as revoking, I think of it more as, okay, wait a minute, we thought that was gonna work and unfortunately it didn't work.
I
It's
think
not quite-
regarding the fencing, in the same light that we don't provide, we provide the tennis nets, they've been there forever. We bought one net for pickleball. most people bring their own, they bring their own balls, they bring their own paddles.
But they, I mean, for all the other fields, like, I mean, we don't provide balls and things like that for Innocent for softball or anything
No,
else like
WAC
that.
puts up fencing, snow fencing for an outfield, I mean, it's, yeah. We don't even provide that.
And I mean, I think if we spoke with them about, again, that maybe all the information wasn't on the table when the decision was being made, and that we're offering up an alternative, it's not like we're saying no completely, that they would understand that.
And we're just saying, no, you can't use, unfortunately, you cannot use tennis courts.
Yeah, but there's other spots.
And
Or other spots.
I guess I would just, at least until we get a decision on them, that we're very cautious that that surface was made for tennis and pickleball, not basketball or other things. And it is very fragile.
It's not a multi-sport court.
No.
It's a tennis court.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't
If-
allow
if it-
skateboarding on it, we don't allow.
So, I'm gonna make a motion again that we, notify the group that, we've made a decision that the tennis court will not be available for dodgeball, but they're, welcome to use the gazebo fields, and that the tennis courts will be reserved for the intent that they were built to be used for, which is court sports, tennis, pickleball, whatever comes along in the future.
A second.
All in favor? Or any other discussion?
Any further discussion on that?
I'm gonna play the bad guy a little bit on this too. I think comparing using what I believe are those big rubber balls on the court, comparing that to putting divots in grass, or where we could potentially be leaving the golf tees, putting divots in, and perhaps even losing a ball or two where people are going to be running and perhaps even face planting into those things. I think that's not exactly a proper analogy. I mean, it's definitely clear why we don't use allow golf on our sports fields for those reasons, because they definitely damage. The courts, people are moving on that and are moving back and forth and running back and forth on those courts while they're playing tennis. It's not something that people just stand still and gently bounce a ball. Maybe a fair amount of them do, but the court is used, it is stepped on, and it is bounced on. So I'm not sure that what the dodgeball people are doing is going to be significantly different.
I would say that, one, the volume. So when you have folks playing tennis, potentially 2 and 2, not 20.
No, I'm sorry, I don't know.
But I get what you're saying, but I also want everybody to understand there's a significant crack down the middle of those courts. Not on the play surface that tennis and pickleball play on, but the surface in which potentially dodgeball would be if they use that whole end of the court. And do you risk, with that number of people running around those cracks, damaging that even further?
That the difference in the crack from one side to the other, it's not smooth across either, from what I remember from last year. But that was the reason that the select board was going to shut the tennis courts down, and then it became they were able to use it because it wasn't on the actual tennis and pickleball play surface. So, I don't know.
So to your
think
point, you're right, maybe my analogy is not correct. But I do think still as a town, we have to be conscious of the investment made, the fragile nature of the facility, and some of the potential damage that can be done because of the volume and the type of sport that dodgeball is compared to a tennis game or a pickleball game.
I guess I totally understand the safety matter. I agree with safety issues 100%. And I totally understand the nature of the condition of the court surface and the problem that that poses us. I guess I look at it from a public standpoint. We're going to reverse a decision on something that is not being used very often. I'm just using that in the sense of like, I think they only have maybe 4 more sessions they plan. Is it better to let it ride the rest of this year for the last 4 sessions they plan on using, and then making better decisions about it in the next season of using that surface, versus the issues are gonna arise from us turning around and saying, no, you can't use this after
So-
we said we could use it?
I totally understand where you're coming from, Matt. I think that it's not just this one group, it's then, oh, well, like, this gets to be played on here, and now we're gonna have other groups showing up to do it. And I'm gonna go to a decision that the select board actually, reversed, and that was, we had, always, allowed the, Chase Park, or the landowners, a weekend ahead of time at the lake. And it was something that the previous, Karen, who was the previous, director, had done, and somebody before her, that had always been done. When, during 2020, during COVID, we tried to continue that, and we were all set to do it, select board was on board, and then there was an uproar in the community, and, Janine and I were accused of having friends at the lake, and that was why. And we were just trying to continue, we were trying to make it so it was a nice, easy, look, we're gonna get these people in, because now we've been told we can only see one boat every half an hour, and we have to try to, I literally had to schedule all that, it was a nightmare. And then the select board said, you know what, no, we don't like this, we're not gonna allow this to happen anymore. So it was something that had been allowed and was expected to be allowed that year, and like literally days before, I had to call everybody and say, sorry, you can't do this. So, I mean, it does happen, and that was on a much bigger scale. I think if we had had the information that we have now, and I feel really bad because I should have thought about it and I didn't, that we wouldn't have, I don't think we would have voted that we could do this. I think we would have said, you know what, that's a sport that's not normally played on those courts. Please go to a field, which is where Gaga Pit would be.
So we've got a motion and a second on the table. Shelby, did you have any more that you wanted to say on the topic before we move the vote?
Well, I was actually, as I listened, trying to look up, like, actual scientific information about whether dodgeball playing damages tennis courts, because that's not something I know without researching. I did find a Seattle Times article about a park in Seattle not allowing dodgeball on their tennis courts due to damage of those surfaces. And I found a couple of other things that talk about dodgeballs, soccer balls, or basketballs damaging tennis court surfaces. So that does make me more comfortable that it should be reversed.
Pam, did you have any other comments that you wanted to
No,
make?
I've already made my,
Dave?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, so there's a motion and a second. I'll go around for roll call. All those in favor, Dave?
Yes.
Aye.
Lisa? Denise, aye. Matt?
Matt, no.
Shelby?
Aye.
No.
Kim? Okay. The motion is moved, and I will speak with the folks. I will reach out to Tatum and let her know our decision. Okay. I'm gonna try to move this along. The Monica, email, they were here to talk about it. Let's move the bylaw updates and job description to the next meeting. Matt, will you be able to give us specific recommendations
I have
on?
everything right here.
You do. Is that something we could take and review?
It is. My only concern was I believe we were instructed that we would have some of this approved at this meeting.
Okay, so I defer to the group. Do we want to sit here and go over it and,
So I
Vote on it,
can't,
or
I
do you-
have to get up in the morning.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I've got a 5:30 wake up, so.
so can we make a commitment that we'll all, do you have enough copies?
Yeah, I can pass them out.
That'd be great.
And that we'll review them, get all our comments, and we'll put it early on the agenda for the next meeting.
What are they asking for? What did they want commitment for?
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, we were instructed to make progress on the bylaws. And then we decided as a group that we
Who
would,
instructed us to make,
Board of Selectmen.
okay. So did we go to the Board of Selectmen in the last month and talk about this?
No, this was brought to our attention the last meeting. And I believe the meeting before, it was also passed to us that they expected us to have progress. I believe again, the wording off the top of my head is wrong, but I believe we agreed that we would at least have a working draft speaking of what park is, the establishment, and the memberships and offices, because that has always been the biggest,
I think we did talk about that
yeah,
last.
so.
Matt, can you clarify for me and for the the minutes, whether the Board of Selectmen came to our meeting to instruct that, or whether they instructed that at their meeting, and who on our commission was present besides the ex officio?
Trying to
Because
remember.
I would like that clarified.
So nobody came here to us. I
Okay.
believe, and James, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that you were the one who had passed the information on to us that we make progress with.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't specifically remember. I know we've had a couple of different conversations about it, and certainly having some movement would be
Nice.
better, and having it sooner rather than later.
So
Can
here-
we set up
But-
another meeting for this?
Can we set up a working meeting for it?
Sure.
That's
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yep.
We
Yes.
can hand this out, we can throw in a 30-minute working meeting. It's 2 pages.
So what, and I think maybe going forward in the future too, if we have items like this, if we can get them out prior to the meeting too, so we can have a chance to read them, make notes on them, that makes it move.
And can I request that prior to the meeting be, like, not the morning of? Because if I'm already at work,
Yeah.
then I'm working.
So I'm gonna try to do the building of the agenda the week before.
That would be wonderful.
And I'm looking for input, so,
Okay.
if you can look for the email and add to that. If there are agenda items that we agree upon, that we have information to present, anything we can get a week ahead of time, so that we can review, write our questions down, would make it go quicker, I think. So what are your thoughts on doing a working session?
I think that's great. Do we need to schedule it?
Are we looking to try to do it in the next week or two, or?
Next Tuesday?
I think the sooner we get to it, the better.
Because we could use, we'd have to check, but maybe we could use that upstairs room.
So next Tuesday, I won't be here because I'm deploying again for 2 weeks, so,
Oh.
Well, with it being a working session, would you be comfortable with reviewing it and giving us your
absolutely.
notes?
Yep,
or-
absolutely, and if Dave's there, he can run the meeting, and I'll review it and send my notes along. I don't think I'll have any
Are you comfortable with
concerns.
that?
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
yep. I don't want the working session to stop, because I'm not here.
So what time?
Do you
would
guys
that
wanna
be
shoot
in?
for 7 o'clock or do it earlier, or?
Trying to think, does that have to be recorded?
No.
No, a working
working
session does
sessions,
not.
no.
We're not voting on
Other
anything.
commissions
It's all business.
definitely
Yeah, it's all
have
business, so it doesn't
precedent
have to
that,
be, yeah.
of it not being.
But it does need to be posted.
Right, which I can
Yes.
do.
Yeah, because if somebody wants to come and sit there, they can.
So what I can do tomorrow is, if everybody's in agreement on Tuesday, I will come down and check room availability for next Tuesday.
Okay.
I can email it out. The question is, do you wanna do it at 6 or 7 for, earlier, or stick with 7?
Can we do 6?
Yeah, 6.
I'm
I
flexible.
would prefer 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do 6.
All right, so I'm gonna look for room 6 PM.
Okay.
Next Tuesday, I'll post an agenda item for a working session on the bylaws, and then we all make a commitment that we review what Matt has provided us.
Thank you,
And
Matt,
come
for doing that.
prepared to, get through in an hour or less.
Yeah, I think like I said, it's I made it in sections so we can
Okay,
look at it.
Yeah.
Here's the proposal, here's the note, yes or no.
okay,
So I'll pass these around. I actually attached some references to this as well, so it can be seen what I'm working with. I'm not starting from scratch, but I'm also not just copy pasting.
Thank you.
That's one packet, if you
Oh,
want to pass
okay.
the whole packet.
So we're doing
Okay.
6 PM.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, you said 2
No, I'm
pages
sorry,
and then
yeah.
this was thicker than 2
I'm
pages,
sorry.
so that confused me.
James.
All right, and Lisa
Two,
same thing on the job description.
3.
Okay,
Can you get a
I do
work,
have a printout of that, by the way.
can you get a working draft?
You have a printout of the job description?
From the 2013 adoption. Park and Rec Coordinator, part-time, adopted April 15, 2013.
I have the electronic version.
You want to,
I'll email you all the electronic version.
yeah, is that all right? Thank
Yeah,
you.
And you'll have,
Thank
have
you,
to
though.
start with.
I'll just. All right, this is gonna go with me.
All right, just real quick on senior summer barbecue, I know you talked about that, just,
Still making progress.
so I did reach out last year, I spoke to somebody, I just wanted you to know, I spoke to somebody at the Legion about doing a chicken barbecue. I did not heard back from them, have you heard back from them?
I have not. I'm going to make contact again because I realized that Charlene can help me out with that, so.
So I think when we spoke to the seniors at the holiday meal, their desire was to have something in the daytime where they could drive. They would like to have it at the lake. And I think based on our experience with the holiday meal, if we can pay somebody else to cook, and that we're just there really to serve and to engage with them, that would be the best way to do it. And that if we could maybe shoot for an August, September timeline, what we would just need is to know what the cost per person would be. So if you want to continue to try to reach somebody, we thought about the Legion because they're just so good at it.
Yeah.
And the seniors tend to enjoy the chicken barbecue. And
Will this be a weekday or a
Weekend.
weekend? Okay.
So my notes on it from the last meeting, we're looking at, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a phone number for you for Charlie McLean if you wanna,
Charlene?
Charlie
Charlie?
McLean
Oh,
would be
No,
a
you
good.
wanted to talk to Charlotte.
I was gonna talk to Charlene.
Oh.
I was gonna use Charlene Preventure as the.
Oh, I was just,
Ian.
cause Charlie would be able to help with all
so
that.
Shelby,
Directly.
here's what I think that's a good question. What I did before is I went to Hands and Hands because they have the majority of the seniors who we could poll. If we said, would you, a Saturday afternoon, we have to think about Chase Park in August being busy. And so what I'd like to do, I will go, they meet every Wednesday, so I can get an answer, what their preference is, Saturday afternoon or weekday afternoon, and I know that ties the hands of some folks because everybody works. But I want to make sure that if the seniors aren't going to show up on a Saturday, then it's crazy to do it.
Yeah,
And
that's
to
why I was
maybe
asking that.
Reinforce that that's what they really want. So while you're getting information from the Legion, I will reach out to Hands in Hands. They were very helpful when we did the senior luncheon to get feedback and information out.
So you're going to confirm preferred dates from them
Yeah.
for us to work
Day of
with?
the week and time of the day and
Okay.
all of those things.
And I will continue to work
And,
on.
and if they still do want to do that, because I know a lot of people didn't come to the holiday meal because it was after dark, even though it was 4 o'clock. So, all right,
Do you want
Yeah,
Kristen's
and-
contact
no,
for the senior wear rights?
no, I have,
You got it?
yep, I got them from before.
Okay.
We'll defer 15. I'm gonna resend out the landscape contract. We do need to look at that, because if we need to have feedback, we need to get that to Naomi. I think we have a couple more months, but I'd like to take a look at that. I had put the gazebo benches, because we needed to get them repaired, but it looks like they're being repaired, so I think we're good there. And was there anything on any of the other fields that we needed
Any
to talk
update on
about?
Innocent with the wells?
Oh, I sent him a message because he did not respond to my text message. So I actually sent him a message today and said, you know, is there anything updated? Because I looked, there was some stuff in my mailbox, but there's no bill from him. So I told him we were a go on Inison controller, but no rain sensors on May 14th. And so I'm waiting to hear back.
Okay.
All right, so, if we
I
can
might,
get an update.
no, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm assuming we have a contract with them for the irrigation.
No.
Yeah, well, we don't have a contract for the irrigation, but we have somebody that we deal with who does the irrigation, yes.
But is it locked in?
No, it's not locked in.
So if we continue to get no response,
He's very responsive
Okay.
normally, so I'm guessing that something must have happened, or maybe he missed my text message, but
Okay.
he's very very responsive.
And just one last item, does anybody know there was a charge, Brian Fournier Landscape?
That's him. Yep. What's it for?
It was $1,000.
Oh, then that was probably him. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Was that was
517.
517? No,
So-
that's from clearing out the lines.
That's the startup.
That's the startup
All
for
right.
all the fields.
All right, so that was a cost that we needed to start up the irrigation.
That's irrigation.
Okay,
Chase Park,
Yes.
what's the deal with the Widowmaker on the lines?
I've called, is it still there?
Yes.
Yes.
I called them again. I called
What
last
we need to do
fall.
is wait till,
No, I called them, I called public service last fall, and I called again like 3 times this spring, and I finally got ahold of somebody, and they said they were sending somebody out that day.
I think, once we get the people there on the
I know it's
20th, I'll say, look, Eversource, there's somebody now in the park, so you can actually, they can't really drive a truck in there.
No.
Mm,
All they have to do is shut the power down at the pole and, put somebody on a ladder and cut a piece of it off and it's done.
I've,
so you're gonna call
very
again?
frustrating. I'll call
Please,
again
yeah,
tomorrow
please.
because I called them
So Lisa's
last
gonna
fall.
call.
Thank you.
Lisa will call.
Sorry.
public service.
No, I'm glad you told me because I thought it was
I
all
had
taken
some
care
very
of.
concerned scouts.
I don't blame you.
Any other business before we make a motion to adjourn?
No, I'm sorry.
All right, anybody wanna make a motion?
I will make a motion to adjourn time 10:08.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hold on.
Not yet, not yet.
I always wanted to.